one. And we welcome back Leigh Phillips. How are you, brother? Awesome to have you here, man.
Good, good. Thanks for having us back.
Ah, mate, listen, number one, how are you?
A lot better.
You look good, man.
Yeah.
You look better. There's some light in your eyes, man. You look better. And I just wanted to share that with you and also share the fact that it was courageous what you did last time you were here, man. It really was. And a lot of people appreciated it. And the fact that I can see that you've talked about what you talked about that night and you've used it to move forward. I can see it in your eyes is amazing. And just keep up, man. That's all. That's
Thanks
all
a
I
lot.
would say. Keep it up. But we're not here to talk about that tonight, mate. We're here to talk about spooky stuff.
Okay.
Paranormal mysteries and paranormal investigations. All right, we should have like the X Files movie or something. You know what I mean?
I've just finished watching them reruns. I watched them all
Oh
again the other night.
yeah.
I finished today, actually.
Actually, look, it's that is the paranormal, so we can talk about X Files. I didn't realize because I started rewatching them as well. I didn't realize how hard in the paint they went from the jump,
Yeah.
like with aliens and Bigfoot, and like season one is like they didn't think they were going to get another season because they literally threw all the major things in that first season. You know, Poltergeist and all everything, man. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe it. Yeah, I look X Files, man. That takes me back because X Files used to be on Wednesday night and footy training was
Mm.
Thursday night. So it's like you had to behave yourself enough so dad would let you watch X Files so then you could go and talk about it at footy training the next night. Right? Again, if you didn't watch it, then you were nothing, mate. You didn't, yeah.
Yep.
So I was there from the beginning. Uh, and look, so you said before we turned the mics on, you had an experience when you were 8 that started to lead your curiosity into the subject.
Yep.
What happened?
Okay. So I was a young lad. Mum and Dad would travel down to a place called Harrow, which is in the northern part of London,
Mhm.
to visit my gran. Mum and Dad had some function to go to in London, in central London. My gran lived in a pre-war house
Mhm.
in Harrow, and we were staying over the night, me and my brother, and I stayed in my dad's old room.
Mm.
Now, my dad's father died when my dad himself was only 14. Okay. And so I'd never met him or anything. So I was fast asleep, and some man comes in, turns the light on, goes, Lee, do you want a drink? And to my knowledge, I had a glass of water. It was as real as me and you
Yeah,
being
right.
here.
Okay. Yep.
He kissed me on the forehead, turned the light off, shut the door, and I went back to sleep.
Mm.
Now, mum and dad come back in the morning, and I was a bit, was that in the house?
Yeah,
Who was
who
this?
did that? But the thing is, you also, by the sounds of it, you just went along with it as well. So it was natural. So it was
It
like
was
it was
completely
almost
natural. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And there was no photos anywhere in the house of my grandfather, so I had no idea what he'd ever looked like.
Mm,
Okay, and anything that was around, which was, there was no photos of him, was up really high.
mm,
My gran was quite old at that
mm,
stage.
mm,
So my mum and dad come in the house, and I go, and dad goes, oh, how are you? And all the usual stuff. So they're the young kids. So I said, some man come into my room, dad. And I was sleeping in your room when my
mm,
dad was sleeping as a kid. And everyone was sort of like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I said, no, this man came in, turned the light on, asked if it was okay, got me a glass of water, kissed me on the head, shut the door, and turned the light off. And my mum's always been a little bit spooky.
mm,
She didn't say too much, but my dad went and rummaged through a side cabinet and produced a photo. And I described how this man looked.
mm.
I can't remember it now so much, but back in the day, it was crystal clear.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he goes, is this the guy? I said, yeah, that's him, which was a picture of his father.
Mm.
Like I said, for various reasons, my gran didn't have any pictures of him around. So there was no way I'd ever have seen this
Yeah, you'd never
picture.
seen a photo of him before. Yeah.
And that was the first really spooky thing that ever happened to me.
Mm.
Yeah.
And was that something that he did? Did your dad say any more? Like, is that?
No, no. My mum's always been a bit spooky. She's very good at reading people,
Mm.
and there's always one of my aunts was very much into the occult,
Hmm.
and she was my favourite aunt growing up.
Of course. Yeah.
Because she was the black sheep of the family.
Yeah.
Um, but at that house, my mum and dad had took a couple of dogs, and they wouldn't go upstairs. They would crap all over the hallway.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
so
Okay.
there was something else there, and it was always when you were upstairs. Even when I was a bit older, you always felt someone else was up there.
Mm, mm. And did your
So
nan ever say anything about it? Nothing.
no, no. I don't know what the relationship was like between her and my
Sure,
granddad,
sure.
but I don't think it was all positive.
Yeah,
So,
sure. Right. Right. No, well, that's fair enough.
so she
Different
did,
times as well. Like she's
yeah,
probably a God fearing lady. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like you don't want to talk about those
yeah.
sorts of things, even if she did see something. Like, you get burned to the stake for 100 years previous for that sort of thing. Like,
We would get the blame. She was a very stern, stoic woman, and we would get the blame. She'd ring my dad up at different times and say, me and my brother had done certain things in the house which we'd never done, or
mm,
they've moved something, and we were like, couldn't even reach the windowsills to move anything. We're only tiny little kids.
yeah,
And she would
yeah.
say, Lee and his brother have done this or done that. And my dad would go, did you? I said, no, Dad, didn't go upstairs.
Mm.
We didn't do that. We didn't lock that door. So there's always something going on. And she was very
Yeah,
much,
right.
she would blame me or my brother. We'd get a phone call
External
saying,
influence. Yeah.
yeah, did they do this? Did they kill the plant? Well, I remember one funny story in the bathroom. She had a plant and it died. And she rang my dad up and she was going right off about this plant. Did you put bleach in it? We go, we can't even reach the windowsill. This plant had just died miraculously. Just
Yeah.
for some reason it died. So there's always instances like that happened in that house.
Mm.
And you always felt that there was someone else there, especially upstairs. And that was my first real paranormal experience.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So you don't think, so I mean, leads into a question. So obviously he hadn't moved on, potentially.
Potentially.
Yeah. And
Mm.
what's your thoughts on that? Do you think it was him, a remnants of him, an energy signature? Like where do you sit?
To me at the time, and I've spoken about this before on other podcasts, it was as real as me and you.
Hmm.
It happened.
Hmm.
There was no way at all that I'd ever seen a photo of him because, like I said, he died when my father was 14.
Hmm.
So something happened. I don't know what. My views, as we'll probably talk about later, have changed over the last few years greatly on the paranormal. So what I would say is that that incident happened with me, and I can't explain
You
it.
can't explain
But
it.
it wasn't a scary incident.
Mm.
It was quite a nice.
Well, that's what I mean. It
Nice,
sounds
yeah,
like you weren't scared when you told the story.
no,
You had a bit of fondness about it. So it's like your
yeah,
granddad checked in to see how you were going. It's my grandfather, and this was a weird experience. I'm literally carrying his coffin, right? So it was like
mm,
the eldest grandsons had to carry the coffin, and I'm literally carrying him, and we're carrying the coffin out of the funeral parlor, and there's a Falcon station wagon hearse. Now, my granddad was a Holden man
mm,
through and through. Like, he never had anything else apart from like an Econo van for his plumbing business.
yeah,
That was a work thing. But he had panel vans. Like, no, he was General Motors, right? And I hear his voice as clear as a bell in my head. They could have got me a bloody Holden. I'm like, yeah, right, mate. As I'm sliding him into the back of the bloody hearse, like that's what happened. Clear as a bell in my
mm,
head. You know what I mean? And then later that night, uh, Granddad loved his port.
yeah,
Had dug his own cellar.
mm,
Mad little bastard. Dug his own cellar. Just crawled under his house, started digging a hole, and dug his own cellar. And he had bottles in there. And one of these bottles of port was lovely, delicious, like old, like it was
yeah,
excellent. The other one was pretty bad. So the good one, we all had like a little cup, a little port cup. And lo and behold, there was an extra one, of course.
mm,
And and the port was just enough for every single cup. And we're like, oh well, that's for Granddad. Put it up on well, it was outside, and we just put it up on a shelf somewhere. I don't know where it was outside. Come back later, it's gone. Someone had drank it, and of course, everyone goes nuts. It's like, what are you doing?
mm.
Who touched the port? And no one touched the port. So it's like,
Strange.
that's just sort of my grandfatherly thing. But I mean, do you think? So do you think that it was him, or what's your thoughts on that?
I'd like to think it was him.
Mm.
I described him without ever seeing a photo.
Mm.
So maybe there'd be some parapsychologist or psychologist that will say there's some sort of memory
Yeah,
recall.
genetic memory
Yeah,
or something. Yeah.
but it was as real as me and you sitting here now talking.
Mm.
And it was a I've always remembered it. I've always spoken about it on other podcasts. Is that it was a nice,
Yeah,
it
as you
was a
say.
nice moment, and it was like because I never knew any of my
Mm.
either of my grandfathers.
Mm, mm, mm. But do you think probably the heart of the question is, do you think he hadn't passed over? Do you think that's plausible? So sort of take yourself out of that personal situation after, 15 plus years of paranormal research. Do you think that there is spirits that haven't passed on, or do you think that depending on, is there levels to this game, or what do you think?
That's a big question,
I
actually.
understand that. And I'm sorry to throw it at you straight away, but you
Do
led
I
me there.
believe spirits to me is we go down the line of religion and we start talking about spirits passed over, etc.
Mhm. Yes and no. That's yes and no. However, as with most good things out of the great book, it was stolen from somewhere else, like
Mhm.
passed on spirits and stuff. That's something that goes back for time memorial. Like that's in indigenous cultures. That's not something that's directly tied to religion. That's something that seems to be deeply ingrained within humanity,
Mm.
that belief or and that understanding potentially.
Do I believe people can pass over, etc.?
Or in this instance that we're talking about, he didn't, or he checked in, or
He checked in.
yeah.
I would say it's more he checked in,
Okay.
but there
But
was
it was
always
only that you said there was always
a presence there, as if there was an energy. And I think
mm,
I like to say an energy. It always felt like there was an energy in that house. In
mm.
certain parts of that house, there was always an energy.
So you would say you checked in, and you're just not answering the question of what you believe. You should be in politics, mate. You keep running me around the circle. That's okay. Look, how about we leave that for a minute? How about you think about it? Because I'm curious.
Yeah.
I'd like to have that discussion. So fast forward, you're 8. When would you have said that you officially became a paranormal investigator? And was it like a side job, like you? Because you said you worked in warehousing and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, I'm a chef by trade.
Chef by trade, big
Always had a
warehousing business.
fascination with the odd things in life. So
It was at Devil something Industries or whatever it is.
Devil's Lane Productions is
Yeah,
my
yeah,
film production
that's right. Yeah,
company.
yeah, yeah.
I was always the kid I was always the young lad that wanted to go through the graveyard to take the
Yeah,
shortcut
sure,
home.
sure.
Always into horror films.
So you had that morbid curiosity.
My music's always slightly into that,
Darker. Yeah. Yeah.
darker stuff.
Mm.
So I was always a bit kooky. And I
Mm-hmm.
hung around with the kooky kids
Mm-hmm.
a lot, which was
Mm-hmm.
pretty cool, and it still is now.
Which is the reason you're here.
Yeah.
With another kooky kid. Yeah.
I had another experience when I was a bit older. Was my um, godfather passed away just before I come to Australia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a little weird experiences, but nothing that was stood out as much as the first one.
Mm.
And that was always strange. He lived in the old manor house in a place called Ware, which is between London and.
So what was the most you just breezed over a few little experiences. What out of those little experiences, what was the most profound that you could recall?
It always felt there was someone. There was always you'd have experiences where you'd feel someone was around or that you weren't alone.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing negative at all. And I always had a fascination with the more darker stuff. Growing up, it was just part of the genre of music and style
Yeah,
that I
yeah.
listened to.
It was the time of the
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But there was no great milestone experiences. There'd be a lot of them that were like, I wasn't alone then.
So you sort of said last time that you weren't sensitive,
Hmm.
but it sounds like that you are to certain energies, or it's like you can feel presence. Is that because you've sort of said that in a couple of different ways now?
You know, people have said that to me. I don't feel that I am sensitive, but at times throughout my life, when there's been a bit of turmoil or something's happened, or an event, there's always felt that someone was nearby,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. Um, I would like to think since the late 90s would be my godfather, who I was very, very close to.
Sure.
Um, But up to then, it always felt there was always like a, what people say, a guardian angel. It would
Mhm.
be like if something was going really bad, or I used to get bullied a lot as a kid. It was always like, yeah, I had
Someone's
just
watching.
someone sitting over me.
Someone's
Yeah,
watching.
you just felt that you weren't on your own in your room when you were late at night. You're pretty upset. It always felt there was someone else there,
Oh, it's comforting.
or an energy that was there.
Hmm. So you are sensitive. That everyone doesn't feel that,
Yeah.
right? That's the reality of that. So when are we a Ghostbuster, mate? You see, I put the Ghostbusters car on your side because I
I
had to.
love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
So when do we start busting ghosts?
I had an interest. I didn't properly start busting ghosts till I came to Australia.
Okay.
So
Because that was going to be one of my questions. Did you get to do that in the UK? Because
no,
the history
no,
there is unbelievable. So
no.
like you would think there'd be multiple. If we
Oh,
are to believe the genetic layering and like the amount of death and all the
mm.
things that have happened in that is quite profound. So you can imagine there would be some haunted areas.
I was kids. We'd hang around certain areas. I used to live near a place called Bletchley Park with
Yeah, I've heard of
the
Bletchley
Enigma
Park.
machine
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that. And
yeah.
I actually worked there for a short time. And there'd be lots of hidden entrances there from the Second World
Of
War. And
course,
we'd
yeah.
run around, and it was always a really spooky place. And you'd go there for the adrenaline buzz. And that was one of the reasons I first got into it, was the adrenaline buzz.
Yeah, let's go and check
You
this
know,
out.
go
This
and
little
check out
spooky place.
the
Yeah,
old
yeah.
graveyards, that are
Mm.
hundreds of years old, or places like Bletchley Park. It would be like for the thrill.
Mm.
Everyone else would be going, oh, I'm not going in there, but me and a couple of other guys would run through for a
Oh,
laugh. And
absolutely. I would totally. Let's find the secret entrance
mm,
into
mm,
Bletchley
mm.
Park. I would be in. Like, yeah, don't you worry about that. I'm in for that sort of stuff.
So, yeah, so um, I got into it over here. I went on a tour, and it's always something that's fascinated me. And they said they're looking for people, and I put my hand up.
Okay.
So I'd watched loads of stuff, read loads of books, and
So you've been in the Ipswich ghost hunting scene for that's the scene you've been in, sort of thing.
yeah,
Southeast
yeah,
Queensland.
yeah. I'll leave names and places out.
No, that's fine.
Um,
So we'll say Southeast Queensland ghost hunting scene for
yeah,
that's
I'd
where you,
been, yeah, it was a good interest. I was in it, and I started doing tours of the place, and that's when it really took off for me. We did some private investigations, and a lot of stuff happened to me early on,
Mhm.
and it was like, this is pretty cool. And we'd take my son, and he was literally, we used to call him Ghost Bait, because when he was a young lad, everything and anything would happen to him.
Mm.
So we went to one place, and we were sitting in a circle, and he goes, I've been bitten.
So these, when you say, I mean, again, you can redact any places or names if you're not comfortable, that's fine. However, are you going to older colonial places or
Yep.
you're being asked to? Yeah, okay, yeah. So like some of the older buildings and
Some
mansions and
of the
stuff.
old historical villages
Yep.
out west,
Hmm.
between Gatton, Laidley, some of those
Yeah,
places.
there's some all sorts of stuff out there, right?
Yeah, some of the stuff near Woolston and that.
Hmm.
So, and we had an incident where my son was, and he obviously follows in the family. We were sitting in this circle, and he was probably about 12. He goes, I've been bitten. And we're actually sitting in an old classroom that was a couple of 100 years old. And goes, didn't mean been bitten. And you could see the top plate on his hand,
Like you've been
but
bitten by.
down bite, yeah,
Yeah,
the
right.
bit down on his hand. You could see it. It was in the classroom. So yeah, he's had a lot of experiences as well. He'll go out now if he goes involved in it. He'll dress from top to toe, so he can't be touched.
Really?
He wears long shirts. He'll wear long trousers. And then when he's come out of us, after a while, that's what he would wear all the time, because he'd get touched a lot or scratched.
Really? So he's a bit of a
Yeah,
beacon.
yeah. When we were filming my first film, Down the Rabbit Hole, we put him into a darkened room at a pub to film some of the experiments we were doing.
Where do we find that? Is that, can we watch that or is that?
That's on Paraflix.
Okay.
Yep. A streaming service,
Okay.
paraflix.com.
Okay. Paraflix.com.
I'll give you the link to put in the description.
Yeah, yeah, please do. Yeah. I'd like to watch it too.
So we did this experiment where they were doing different things in the dark, and we'd made sure the room was pitch black, and we had infrared cameras there, And Ryan, my young lad, had a camera. He was the only one in there that had a camera. And I was watching on monitors the other side of the building, going, what's he doing? The camera was going up and down, left and right. He came out of that room and it looked like a cat had took to his legs. Just left
Really?
him. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And obviously you had infrared cameras in the room. There was nothing.
Nothing. There was only the people that were sitting down and they were spaced out so we could see exactly what they were doing. He was the only one mobile.
And was he dancing around a little bit like he was
Oh
being
yeah,
scratched?
yeah,
Yeah,
he
right.
was. He comes out and he scratched. So he's had a lot of experiences as well. He's
Sounds like
probably
a
had more
cat.
than
A
me.
cat
Yeah, look,
spirit had got
yeah,
after him. Wow. Well,
yeah.
look,
All down his legs, he had scratches. All down his legs, like a cat literally pawed him.
wow.
Yeah, but he's very, you know, when we've tried equipment with him to teach him how to use it, with the spirit box going, and we'll get into what the different bits of equipment are later.
Mm.
In his room, and me and my partner left him in the other side of the house, and I'm going, it's all very quiet down there. I can hear lots of noises. Now I'm very skeptical of spirit boxes now, but at the time, so we crept down the hallway to see what was going on. He was having a full conversation with someone
Yeah, right.
on the spirit box, yeah. And it was a couple of words at a time coming out, and he was chatting away, quite happy.
How old was he doing that?
Oh, he must be about 12 at the time.
So he's always been close to the veil. It sounds like.
Yeah.
Like that's how I would interpret it. He's obviously close to the veil.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very sensitive. We spoke last podcast about the dial. He was really picking up on that stuff.
Yeah, the doll was crazy.
For the first week, for the whole period of the time, he was very affected by it.
Mm. So what about so you said you had a fair few experiences. Share a couple of others. What else? If you were to say share a few stories that were profound to you or inexplicable or like obviously yeah, and would, after that maybe we talk about the tech. You've talked about infrared cameras, that sort of thing. However, what's some profound experiences that you would take away?
There's numerous ones. The ones that stand out is I was opening Woolston House
Mm-hmm.
once for a tour. I was the only one there, and I was opening all the doors, and I was down the bottom part where the cellars are, and I'm opening the doors, and I'd shut the gate, which was about 500 meters away, the main gates, and no one could come in.
Mm.
I was there on my own, and I'm just opening the doors. It was a summer's afternoon, evening. And I'm opening the cellar doors, and someone goes, "Hello," and subconscious, I've turned and gone, "Hiya," and then I've gone, "Someone just said hello to me. There's no one around."
Mm.
It was a very surreal moment. I've gone, you don't realise. You just replied. I went,
Yeah, yeah,
"Hiya."
yeah. G'day, mate. Oh, g'day.
Yeah.
What?
And it was like, hold on. There was someone, it was like someone's just said hello to me, and it was as clear as day.
Mm.
Because if you saying hello to me there, and I just went, "Oh yeah," it's like, oh, it's a bit strange. That was a good one.
That was a good one. Yeah, right.
So
And Woolston House, where's that? That's
it's down by the prison. It's
yeah.
the old,
Oh, the
the
Woolston.
old farmhouse down there.
This, yeah, because I was trying to remember. Yeah, yeah. And how old? I mean, that's what, 17, 1800s.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's one of the first colonial buildings in that part of Brisbane.
Yeah, right. Okay. And do they still run tours there or?
Different paranormal groups do now, from my knowledge. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I've been out in the field for a while
Mm,
now,
mm,
for various reasons. But yeah, that was a pretty cool one.
mm.
Um, we can talk about the Hopewell House one if you want.
Yeah.
The video.
Oh, the video. Do you want to bring the video?
Yeah,
Okay.
we can
Yeah,
do the
yeah,
video.
yeah, we can do the video. Yeah. So, all right, we'll take us to Hope. Set the scene for us, mate. Set the scene.
So Hopewell House is a Gatton historical village,
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen that. That's,
Mm.
yeah, it's down the road from here. Yeah.
and we've had some pretty cool experiences there. This one night, we were at this house. It's called Hopewell House. It's actually one of the houses on the site there. And I'd set up an old Canon cassette video recorder.
Mhm.
My son was in the far room, playing around with the spirit box and having a good chat. And so all the curtains and everything was shut. There was no light in the building at
Yep.
all.
So you went about it as scientifically as you could.
As scientifically as we could, yeah.
So you took it seriously. You weren't just
Yeah.
wandering around with video
And
cameras.
my partner's a big skeptic. So the three of us were on site at this building.
Mm.
No one else was around that building.
Mm.
And I've just set this camera up and on the veranda looking down the side of the building, and we'd gone off and done something else in the house.
Mm.
I can't remember exactly what we were doing. And Ryan was getting all this German coming through on the spirit box. Apparently, it was a German family that originally owned it.
Yeah, a lot of Germans
Mm.
out here. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was getting a lot of German, and there was some banging going on and some pretty weird things. There was a weird sensation in
There
the
was some
house.
stuff going down.
Yeah. And this house, people have walked into it before and felt sick. A lot of women have felt very sick.
Mm.
Some people won't step foot in the house. They've always had a bad thing. So I was drawn to this house straight
Yeah, of
away.
course. Yeah, we need to figure out what's going on here. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So there was just the three of us there. There was other people on site. They were doing stuff a long way away from us.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just having a play around in there, etc., different bits of equipment. We could pack up the end of the night, go home, and I'm reviewing this video. And I'm sitting there going, and Joe was watching, my partner was watching it with me, and she goes, something's moved around the side of the house. And it's this black figure. I'm going, no, it can't be. No. We'd actually seen someone actually walk down the side of the house before, as we knew that with the camera, it was an older camera, but we knew that a human could be visibly seen as a human. You could see the clothes, the skin color, the build, everything.
You tested the footage, yeah?
Yeah. And because we just left it there and just forgot about it, to be honest with you. And we go back and we see this person or this shape, this shadow, peeping around the corner, back again. There's no human features to it.
Mm.
But you can see it's the shape, silhouette of a human.
Mm.
There was no lights on anywhere. We knew where the three of us were. We knew no one else was around us.
Mm.
So if you play the video, you'll actually, we've highlighted it in red.
Yeah, I can see that. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at this. All right. Hopewell House. Oh, zero mistakes. Zero mistakes. I've got to try and get to the. Why can't I move this? Oh, here we go. All right, we're away. Sorry, guys. Any noise or no?
No. You have to watch it a couple of times.
Oh, so was it just the start there, was it?
Yep.
Yeah, right.
You see it then?
Yeah, right.
Bigger. There's no shadow. There's no light anywhere.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Did it twice? Is it twice it does it?
No, it does it once.
Does it once?
That's just we've just duplicated it so you can see it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's not a shadow. It's not defined. It's not that defined as a shadow, but something moves
Yeah.
back out and back again.
That's crazy. And so what's the story there? Is that's an old house? Just is it? I mean, is it similar stories with these houses as well? Old families, bad deaths, blah 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 blah.
They've all got the same sort of story.
Yeah.
Someone died badly, or a lot of it, I would say, is a lot of myths about these places.
A lot of LORE lore, I suppose.
Yeah. It's meant to be a German family. Some people say people died there. I'm not 100% on the exact history, and I know that there'll be people watching this that will
know
and say, "Oh, he's got it all wrong. He's this and that." So I will try not to quote the history too much.
We're just sophomaniacs, mate. Don't take anything as gospel.
Yeah. But I believe there was someone called Serafina. There was a woman there, and there was a husband, and the family lived there. The house was originally on another property, and the farmer apparently, from my knowledge, had actually seen someone at the window before. Then the house was transported and moved to Gatton Historical Village.
Oh, so well, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
it stayed with the house. Whatever the
Mm.
thing was stayed with the house.
Yeah.
Well, that sort of lends to like energy attachment or something. You know what I mean? There's got to be a discussion there about what's anchored, whatever that is, to that place if it's been moved from the physical location that it first started at.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
And that was a pretty awesome. That's probably that's my favorite capture
Yeah.
because there's no. It just happened.
It
It
just
was
happened.
organic.
Yeah. You
There
you
was
didn't even
no.
know it was
We
not a
had no
plan.
idea. We had no idea. We did another investigation at the Ray Whites at Ipswich, which used to be the old funeral home. And we were down. I haven't actually got the footage of this one. So, and we were downstairs. We put a camera on.
You do have the footage, or
We don't have the
you don't
footage. No,
have
I did a private investigation. I was asked to join. A lot of people have invested all private investigations, and they ask you, "Would you like to come along?" And because I used to be very much into the tech of the
Yeah.
field, and I'd
Yeah.
have computer programs and all this and that. I was very much into it, all the gear, all the gadgets and the gear.
Mm.
And we'd set this camera up facing where we used to keep the bodies, and like would have been like a cold room in the day.
Mm.
And we'd left this camera running. We'd locked the gate, but there's a car park underneath, and we'd locked the gate, and we'd all gone off. And we went back listening to the review and the footage a couple of days later, and you hear a woman whisper, "Come here, come here."
Yeah, right. That's
And
it.
it was pretty cool. Some people say, "Oh, it's really spooky," or give them chills. It was actually pretty cool. It was,
Well, the thing is, you're looking for that evidence. You're looking
yeah,
for something,
yeah.
right?
So that was a cool one. We've had numerous ones where I probably wouldn't go into them so much now because my views on the equipment has changed over the years.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yeah.
But the organic ones are the pretty cool ones that things have happened or
Have you seen any like poltergeist type stuff move or any of that sort of thing?
we went to a pub in Gatton. Sorry, went to a pub in Gatton where bottles and that had allegedly come off the shelves.
Mm.
This pub's not open anymore. And we were all in there and we could hear, yeah, again, I had people with me that were very skeptical and we could hear like marbles being dropped and rolling across the floor.
Mm.
We were at one end of the building, one end of the bar, and we heard two notes being played on the piano.
Yeah, wow.
So I have seen there, I did see there a bottle of alcohol once come off the shelf. Could it just tipped off? They were pushed pretty far back.
Mm.
So
And a glass bottle's pretty stable.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was a pretty cool place. And we did some experiments there for Down the Rabbit Hole, which I'm happy to talk about as well if you want to
Mhm.
talk about that. Where the back room where we did most of our filming was apparently burnt. And we had people in there that were just in there. We put them in pretty stressful situations to see how they would react.
Mhm.
Because I've got a big belief that 99.9% of the paranormal's in your brain.
Could be. Yeah.
And that's something I believe. And we had two subjects in there that both said they smelt and felt burning.
Yeah, right.
So this place was very active. It was a really
And you
cool
wouldn't
place.
tell them that that had been on fire? You don't share that
No.
sort of information?
No, they were literally blind. They would go in there blind. For that room for the film, we literally blacked out that room even more, so there was no light at all.
Mm.
So they were literally walking into this big black cavernous hole that they had no idea what was going to happen to them.
Mm. Who volunteers for that?
Quite a few people did actually. You get to do these sort of things. You get to live out some of your sick fantasies.
Look, if you said to me, I need you to go in a spooky room to see what you feel, I probably would have went. So what am I saying? If you offered me to do it,
a lot of people, you'd
I
be
would've-
amazed the amount of
I
people that
would've
go, "Oh, I'll have a go at that."
yeah,
I'll have
I
a go
would
at
have
that.
I would have gone. I would have gone to see what was going on. Yeah, right. So look, I know you want to have a chat about the tech and that sort of stuff. I do want to get to what you think it is, but I mean, maybe we should talk about the tech before we get to the whatever woo woo side of it you may think there is. Because that's an interesting statement. You think 99% of it's in your brain. However, if I just take that instance you just said to me, then you put two blind people into a room that they
Mm,
had no idea what it was, where it was, or that sort of stuff, and they said, I'm burning and I'm on fire, and that room as it had
mm.
burnt to the ground, and that was part of the story. Is that they're accessing genetic memory of the site, or what are we picking up on there?
Then we would be talking about the stone tape theory, where we believe that the building can hold the energy or memories.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe that. Yeah.
And I think there is some merit to that.
Mm.
But I give the
I could
example.
have there's an interesting story about this room. Yeah.
I one of the experiments I produced a Ouija board,
Mhm.
and people were very objected to actually using it. Oh, it's a Ouija board. I won't go into too much of the experiments. One of them, we got a mirror, big old mirror we picked up from Rosewood, and we put it into a room and left these people in there for about 15, 20 minutes in this room in the dark. And they all swore it was a haunted mirror
Mhm.
because it was an
Gilded,
old looking mirror.
old
The
gilded
brain had gone,
mirror.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly what it was.
Yeah. Mirror, mirror on the wall.
And it was a $15 eBay job. It was.
Yeah.
I've got a few voodoo dolls, and we threw one of them in there, and they straight away, it's voodoo doll, it's bad. And that's how the brain was working. Same as someone put a Ouija board. We put the Ouija board in there. It was $20 from eBay.
Mm.
And they, oh, I'm not using that. I'm not using
I
this.
mean, the thing
And
is, we're both old enough to remember that Hasbro's used to do a Ouija board as well.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so those sort of things get me very much is that, and I've seen it on tours where someone will go and the wind will blow or an old door of an old house will
All
creak.
close or creak. Yeah. Yeah.
And that straight away, that's their gran or their granddad or a lot of the people that go, we can go there early if you want on this. I think a lot of people that go, there's two types of people that go on ghost tours. There's the thrill seekers,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Want
think
want
that
to
I'm
try?
one of them.
Yeah. Want to try and see something? Yeah.
And there's people looking for answers or messages.
Okay.
And they're the two and they're the people that the slightest breeze, the slightest knock on an old wall, or that they're going to.
Interpreters. That's what they're looking for.
Yeah, they're looking for something, so their brain is working that that's their old aunt or that's their mum come back. And look, there is people in the field that will play on that.
Of course.
I think a lot of the tour operators are very unscrupulous that they like this. I think that they this is their bread and butter.
Yeah. Well, they need to. They want to amplify whatever
Mm,
experiences they can, because then that'll go to the next person. Oh, I was on the Woolston House tour and this happened and
mm.
that happened and da 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 da, and then that then makes them more money. I mean, this is the inherent and I think there's a. So was it ever your profession, or was it always just a side gig? It was always a side gig.
Just a hobby,
Yeah.
just a hobby, and that's what it was.
And the thing is, that's the difference, right? You can see it objectively because it was a passion project, it was a hobby. Whereas if you begin to attach all of your existence to something like that, then you will manifest or use whatever you can do to make sure that it keeps going. You know what I mean? Like if it's the gravy train, you got to keep going, don't you?
I don't see how anyone, unless they're a YouTube person or they've got a show on the Discovery Channel, A&E, etc., can make a living out of it. Because how can you charge money for a service that you can't even prove you're providing a service for?
Yeah, but some of these ghost tours are not cheap to go on.
The ghost tours, yeah, but I'm talking about people going to people's houses to investigate. They'll charge. Some people have known there's people out there that have charged money
Mm.
to do a private investigation at someone's house. How can you charge money for something you can't even physically prove exists?
That's true.
You
And
know,
look, as I say, I could, we could talk about some of my experiences, I suppose. However, any times that I've gone to clear a house or run some sage through a house or do anything like that when I've been asked to do it, I never charged anything
no.
for it.
But there's people out there you hear stories about that have charged people, or or come to a ghost um, training session and learn how to do this, learn how to do that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they'll charge $100+ for the night. They'll throw a meal in and they charge. It's like,
Ordering pizza doesn't count, does it?
no.
Really?
You're using a cat ball and an piece of equipment called a K2 meter, which is predominantly used by electricians to find where cables are in the wall to prove there's the existence of ghosts.
Right.
And you're charging $100 for that, or a pendulum that can just swing by you by moving your hands.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So that's where I've become very skeptical of the paranormal field over the last few years. Where I was very much into it, now I take a stand back and look at it very differently.
And why the change? What happened? You don't have to admit any details. You don't want anyone to get in trouble.
It's okay. Disillusionment. Nothing was moving on. It's a very catty, bitchy environment. Anyone gets any notoriety or some good bit of evidence, someone else will sit there and pull it down. Not working together and saying, "Oh, that's really cool. Let's all have a look at that." And I'm quite happy for anyone to look at that video. To me, I put it out there. So much backbiting. And then you hear, "I've been in the field for X amount of years and I know better," and the people hijacking people's tours, trying to get into places that other people have already got agreements to do tours.
Yeah, right.
It's shocking. It's vile.
And this is the problem, man. It's the same with everything, like here at UTC, we wanted to try and unlock the code of the Australian Megalithic Society and all this sort of stuff, man. And it's all the same shit, man. And I don't. Why can't we all just get along? It doesn't matter what the field is. I don't understand that. Surely we're better together than we are fighting against
paranormal field is very poisonous. What people will say to you, if there's people with, and I suppose this must be the state of affairs with social media nowadays.
Well, there is that. You got to take that into account.
Fake accounts, people ringing up to cancel other people's tours. It's just
really,
oh yeah, like it's cancerous. People trying to get tours where places where other people have got, and you'll often find the ones that will tell you they're legitimate are probably the biggest snake oil salesman of the lot.
Right. Which is
yeah. And I'm not gonna mention any names. No, there's people around there that look. I think the field has changed over since I've been away from the field. It's changed in a very negative way. It's all about YouTube hits.
Well, it's all about clicks, man. Yeah. It's back to the same old thing. You've got to do the viral moment or whatever it is, and it's whatever you can do to get that viral moment so you can get the.
And there's a group in America called the Foreman Brothers. Now, when I first started out over here, I had a bit of a contact with one of them, and he was great. All of a sudden, they went from investigating people's houses and that to everything was a demon.
Oh, right. It's all demonic. Yep.
Yeah, it was everything was demon. Demon here, demon there, demon this. And you go through YouTube now, and everything's a demon. It's like.
Well, actually, here's a good question. In all your experiences, is there a light versus dark energy? Have you experienced have you actually been fearful at any of the stuff you've been doing? Or
I've never been scared. Adrenaline wise, I think things have gone off around us and that's been exciting, but I've never been scared of anything.
So you never had the blood run cold moment? Or
no, I've always loved the situations when it's the heightened adrenaline and that.
Yeah, right. That's what you're after.
I wanted the rush.
Yeah.
And I wanted to do more of the scientific stuff and that as well but it was cool. Look, it's not all bad. There'd be times when we'd be sitting there with a couple of people I'm still friends with this day, and we'd have a great time sitting in a cellar somewhere for 3 or 4 hours. Things would be going off and we'd be talking and that, but it's not as glamorous as people think either.
Neither is podcasting, just for the record. You know what I mean? It never is, because the thing. Again, we live in a world of social media. and you'll only post the crazy ones. You know what I
Yep.
mean? You only post the this was the best thing that ever happened sort of thing. You're not going to post. Yeah, no one sees. Well, you got here at 7:30, 8 o'clock tonight. You didn't see the 2 hours prior to that I spent setting up the studio and making it look nice. And yeah, the camera looks good here, but there's a mess behind it. You know what I mean? Like it's all, you don't see the hard yards,
Mm.
that where nothing happens because you don't share those. It's
No.
like, you've sat in 100 cellars and nothing's happened. You just got a sore ass from sitting on the concrete. You know
And
what I
it's
mean?
wet and it's damp, or in the summer it's stinking hot with mosquitoes.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and 9 times out of 10, that's what happens. Nothing happens. So if you've got a good group of people around you, it's more of a social. I would treat it more as a social entertainment in that way. That we'd be
Yeah,
there
well, it's a bunch of
chatting in the
friends getting together.
dark,
Yeah.
and yeah, I wouldn't take it too seriously. Um, but there's people that take it very seriously. You must do this. You can't go to something. You can't call anything out. Well, I'm very much the opinion we'll prove something's there first.
Mm.
You can't do this in a house. You can't do that in a house. I can tell you of a case, or not a case, a place we went to, and we're very careful how I say this. It was a building. We went to up in Toowoomba, a place called Highfields,
There's plenty of old stuff up there. Yeah.
and me and a dear friend of mine, Mickey, were in this building, and we were up to no good. I'm not going to go into details, but we were up to no good in this building.
Mm-hmm.
We got some fantastic, even though I'm very skeptical now, we got some fantastic evidence come through. The next group of people that came in, they didn't want to stay in that building for very long at all.
Mm.
And then my son came in later on in the night, and he was sitting at the back of this building, and he had his hair pulled all night.
Yeah. Well,
So
that freaks me out, man.
I'm not going to go into details what we were doing, because there'll be people saying you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't have done that,
Yeah,
and etc. It's all that rubbish. And I really don't care, to be honest with you. We got some really good interaction of whatever was there.
So you were trying to stir it up, is basically.
Oh
what you're
yeah,
saying.
yeah. We were having great fun in there, and it was a laugh. It was. We weren't taking ourselves too seriously, um, and we had a really good time in there.
Mm.
And I think that the normal people that go and do this stuff, and I don't mean the parapsychologists. That's the way you want to do it. Go and have fun.
Mm. Well, it's like anything. It's like
Yeah.
anything. This is fun. Yeah, whatever you're doing, whatever your passion project hobby is, you got to try and have a good time doing it.
Mm.
I think that's the. And yeah, look, there is a lot of that with that sort of stuff. Like, you can't do this, you got to do that, you must do this, and some of it is, I think it depends on what you're doing. What are you trying to do? If you're going there literally to try and stir something up to see what's there, then you're going to do something to see what's there, right? So what? Obviously, this is how I'm like, how behind the times I am with this sort of stuff. It's like night vision glasses, goggles, and
Mm.
EMF readers and that sort of stuff, right? But
Yes.
what is a spirit box? You just said you were skeptical about them, but what is a
A
spirit
spirit
box?
box quite basically scans through radio frequencies at quite a high speed, and it's believed that words can come out. Now, I've heard some words come out,
Mhm.
but there is a thing called pareidolia, where you can perceive that you've heard something, or you perceive that you've seen something. You've seen those photos and that of images, and they'll say there's a lady in the window, and it's actually the way the curtain is, etc.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Um, Great story of that. When I was a young lad, we talked about pareidolia. I had these cassette curtains when I was a kid, and it looked like there was faces all over these curtains. They were hideous and scared the shit out of me every fucking night when I was a kid. There was nothing there, but my eyes looked at the
Oh
pattern when I was
yeah,
a young lad,
it's
and
the
it was
monster
like
under the bed. Yeah, yeah.
every night I'd be under my quilt going, "Fuck this!" I'm not looking at that, and especially when it was in England, where the nights don't get dark till late, so the light's still coming
Yeah,
through,
yeah,
and you see these faces like, fuck.
yeah.
So a lot of it is pareidolia. You'll hear words, or you're in a situation where you're looking for something. So you're in a, say, an old house.
Mm. You're invested.
Yeah, you've already bought into it. Your
Yeah.
brain has already bought into this, that something's going to happen. There's going to be an experience.
Mm.
So spirit boxes come out with words sometimes, and so
What is it? It's
it's
like it's just a radio frequency emitter that
just scanning very
just
quickly, as if you had a radio and you go really quickly through the frequencies,
yeah.
and he'll pick up random.
So is it white,
So,
not like static white noise?
yeah, there's that white noise, that really annoying white noise you can hear. Then you'll hear the odd word come out as it's scanned over that station
Mm.
in that wavelength.
But isn't that just them picking up radio shows and words
Yes,
from a radio
yeah.
show?
But I have heard it as well. At times, it has come out with words that I would be like, that's a weird word to use, you know, or is it pareidolia as well?
I mean, the thing is, so if a word comes out on their spirit box, does it hold at that frequency or?
No, it just keeps scanning. It constantly cycles through, and they reckon you do it backwards.
And how
So it's
quickly are we on each channel? Like how fast are they rotating through?
0.3 of a second, 0.2, very, very
Oh, very
fast,
quick.
very, very fast. Now, if you ever watch any of those paranormal shows, you'll hear it's a really annoying,
Yeah.
loud sound. That's what it sounds like, and it is awful sound. And you'll hear a word come through. Now, I think 9 times out of 10, and yet again, and you hear me say it a lot, I just think it's just the word is picked up going past a radio station.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like
Yeah.
if you've got enough power behind that, it's just cycling through the different frequencies,
And that's
and
all it's
someone's
doing.
going to be on the. It's crazy with the rise of podcasting, how many radio shows there still actually is. Like if you start cycling through your FM band on your car, there's so many radio shows almost on every frequency. All sorts of crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah. And a trick that I've seen people do to get activity, they'll slow it down. And they'll slow it down to a speed where you will get a whole word come through.
Yeah, if you
So,
open the gap out to a second, you
yes.
just pick up a
Yeah.
someone like this. You could just pick up a word as they're talking, or out of a song, or
And that
whatever.
is exactly what I've seen some of these people do. They'll slow it down. Oh, it said this word. Of course, it said a word. It's going slower over a radio station's
Yeah,
frequency. It's going to pick up a word.
yeah, it's going to pick up words. It's going to happen. Yeah, even if it's going through VHF or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like there's people out there on the frequencies. Like that's that. Yeah, okay. Yeah,
Mm.
right. Okay, so I can see why you're a bit skeptical of that. I've never seen one, and I'm skeptical of that. Like if that's
I'll bring one in another time. You can play a bit. It's very noisy.
uh,
Words have come through, but you wonder if you, like I said, you've already bought into where you are.
you're looking for
something.
well, you've invested in it.
Yeah.
How much does a spirit box cost? You know what I mean? Like it's like
Yeah.
you want to you want it to work. You've put money in.
It's a broken radio, basically.
Yeah, right.
That's all it
Oh,
is.
just a broken
Yeah.
radio.
And there's a lot of paranormal investigators will swear by it. I mean, there's guys that make big boxes in America, beautiful pieces of artwork, wooden boxes doing the same thing, and they're charging thousands of dollars for these things. I mean, they're works of art, they're beautiful.
But it's just it's
At the
basically
end of the day, it's a radio scanning very quickly, a broken radio scanning very quickly over AM or FM channels.
that's it. That's all it is.
That's all
So
it
it's
is.
not even VHF or UHF. It's
AM and FM radio stations.
what? Well, that's I would. Okay. Well, you would think. All right. So this is just my mind, right? This is where how I unpack these things. In my mind, okay, let's pretend for a second that the spirits are real and they do want to communicate with us. Then they're going to be doing it on a frequency that we can't hear and or understand, right? So that means you need to go past AM and FM. You need to go to UHF, VHF, and you need to roll through those channels quickly because that is frequencies that we can't physically hear. Like you think you'd have to roll through fit. Yeah, right. Okay.
I'm not here to say everything is fake,
No.
but I think
What if
that
1% is true?
the
It's okay.
public need to be aware that there is certain things that are done that it's almost like a magic trick.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's sleight of,
That's
it's
not-
sleight of hand.
Yeah, that's not scientific evidence when you've slowed the scanning speed down,
And
it's
it,
gonna
all it
pick
is,
up
all it is AM, FM radio.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we can move on from a spirit box. So, night vision, digital versus analog videotape. I'd imagine you do both because they record a little bit differently. I know they imprint onto the film differently as opposed to digital. What else are you using? Infrared cameras.
Yeah, I've had an infrared camera system at the time. There's another one that I think's a big fake. Cat balls that light up.
Oh, like the little that
Yeah,
like you tap 'em
you
around.
tap them and they light up.
Right.
People would have them, and you would hear people saying spirits in the room because this cat ball would lit up.
But
And
they're dodgy pieces of crap from China. They'll
that's
just light
correct.
up all by themselves.
And people swear by them in the field. There's people out there that will say they'll use it as part of their investigation. It's a 50-cent cat ball that's meant to light up at any slight movement.
A bit of breeze or anything
Mm-hmm.
anything could change in the room, and
Mm-hmm.
that thing could light up.
Mm.
Okay. I didn't know light up cat balls. So what about electromagnetic frequency, EMF, that sort of stuff?
There's something called a REM pod
Mm-hmm.
that that you use that's got an antenna on it and lights up. You'll just see anyone who's seen any of the paranormal shows, they always produce the REM pod.
Yeah, it's like the Ghostbusters thing. That
Yeah, and if you get too close to the REM pod antenna, it lets off a beep and lights up. And it's an interesting gadget,
mm-hmm.
but we found that if you're using radios, normal walkie-talkie radio,
Two-way radio. Yeah.
it sets the REM pod off.
Oh, so if you're at one end of the house and you go, "Hey
Yeah.
mate, where are you?" and he's standing in front of the REM pod, they go beep 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 beep.
And there's TV shows that have used that as a way of setting the REM pod off.
Yeah, right. Well, it's all views, man. It's all about views.
There's some very well-known people that have made a very rich fortune out of it. They've used that stuff as proof of ghosts.
So, all right, we have I missed any pieces of tech, or we covered obviously microphones, that sort of thing,
Yeah,
parabolic microphones, these sorts of stuff.
there is I'll tell you a funny story. There is a Panasonic recorder, one of the very first digital recorders called a D90.
Yeah, because I remember this because the tape, they reckon the tape decks, because the mic was like, it was pure.
And this is the Panasonic D, I think it's the D90. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's a these things go for thousands of dollars on the internet because they reckon when they do ask questions and they run these, that they reckon they can hear answers. A lot of these shows you'll see on YouTube, they use this Panasonic. They go for thousands on the internet because they're so old.
Because someone just decided that was.
There's a flaw that doesn't overwrite the data. It doesn't overwrite the data correctly.
Right.
So you get this voice sounds like it's coming through. It was one of the very first voice recorders that.
So if you're using an old tape, you're using an old tape.
It's no tape. It's just a recorder, and it records, and it doesn't read. It's one of the very first ones that was read write over the top.
Yeah, Roger. Okay, yeah, I'm with you.
So they'd be asking, and it's got a very distinct sound to it. Anyone who's watched any of these big paranormal shows will see it, and they'll play it, and they go, "Oh, I've heard this. I've heard this." It doesn't write over itself
because it's primitive technology. Yeah. It doesn't overwrite the last file, so you're getting garbled stuff from the last time they did it.
And they go for thousands on the internet. If you look one up on the internet, you'll be surprised how much they go for.
And it's because of that. But
it's a flaw.
It's a flaw in the technology.
Yeah, there's a flaw. It's old tech.
And how do we know that it's a flaw in the technology? Who found that out?
Well, it's always the same sound that comes through, the same style of alleged EVP comes through on those recorders.
Right.
It sounds different to anyone else who may have got EVPs on any other more modern voice recorders.
EVPs, electronic voice
phenomena, where they believe that you can hear things. I mean, look, we've had experiences. I'm not going to knock it all. We've had experiences where we've heard like a whispering or something come through.
That was my next question. So as far as EVPs, we're learning the lingo here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. As far as EVPs are concerned, what is the best one of those that you could tell us about?
There's been lots. I can't think of any off the top of my head. But
what gave you a rush? What you said you're chasing that rush? What was one that we went, wow, that's cool?
We were down in a cellar once, and this is we're gonna have the listeners laugh at this. We were down in the cellar once, and we left this running, and we were well away from the area.
And this is not the same D90, another.
No. This was a cheap, normal voice recorder you can get for about $40-50. It was nothing flash. and we got devil come through on it. Now, I'm not saying if it was or anything, it was, and that was pretty cool. And the spirit box we had running down there at the time as well was coming up with these words. And I hate to say that because everyone's saying I'm going to say everything's a demon and that, but I'm not. It was that was something that came through, and it was like, well, that's pretty weird,
Mm.
And we left the camera down there as well.
And what about infrared stuff? You picked any heat signature, any sort of energetic signatures up over the years, orbs or any of that sort of stuff? Because some of that stuff's fairly compelling. I know everyone goes, "Oh, it's all bullshit." Some of it's, I don't. I suppose I'm still whimsical, mate. I'm not Anthony, right? Anthony wants to debunk everything, right? However, um,
I'm Anthony of the
yeah, I
Paranormal
know, and
Thing,
that's what I
and
mean.
it's
I just realised that I'm talking to Anthony. See, I want to believe ghosts and UFOs. Now I've got both the biggest Anthony skeptics. That yeah, okay.
But
So
I've seen. Look, you can look on the internet and you look up what people say are orbs, and it's insects, etc. The gas from the
it's
wings,
dust particles
dust
and yeah,
particles that's getting picked up on infrared. There's people out there that say they can sit there and summon these orbs, etc.
in saying that, we should probably do a CE5 thing this year. We should
Oh,
try.
definitely.
We should try and do Grier's protocol and see if it works. I'm
We'll,
very curious.
we'll talk about that off thing because
Yeah.
it's something I want to do for the film.
Okay.
We've
Yeah.
got
Count me in.
yeah. So I have seen, but I have also seen dust particles going one way, and this largest shape that was normal to the rest of them go back the other way. So
Yeah.
the wind was blowing it. I can't explain what it was. Was it just an anomaly?
Mhm.
Um, I've seen, I have some footage. I had some footage at the time of a place in Laidley that I was doing. We did an investigation at where we actually see this camera picks up something and it goes down as this whatever it was, this light anomaly has gone down. One of the REM pods has gone off, but as I've said, we can't be 100% that the REM pod was accurate. There could have been a phone near it, or
Something. Yeah. There could have been a radio frequency that it picked
but
up.
that was a coincidental thing.
So with the REM pod and the spirit box, does one set the other one off?
No,
Okay.
no, it's walkie talkies set them off,
Yeah.
and we actually found this out when we were filming down the rabbit hole. Is that we had walkie talkies and we'd click it and it was going off. What's making that go off every time? Then you start realizing
Yeah. Yeah.
that.
Yeah. It's happening too many
So you
times.
start doing it. It's like, okay, we can't run with walkie talkies because it's actually affecting
Mm.
the equipment.
Mm.
You know, same as the K2 meters that show the EMF.
Mhm.
You put your phone up close.
Oh yeah,
They light
we're being
right up.
poisoned every
Yeah,
day. Yeah,
yeah,
absolutely.
and they light up, roll all the way up. So they say turn your phone on to flight mode, etc., etc.
Be best just to
Less
leave it in the
bills.
car,
Just
wouldn't it?
turn it off.
Mm.
But unfortunately, nowadays
They're
there's a
not off.
big
They're not. They're not off when they're
and
being
there's a
done.
big market for ghost apps nowadays.
Mhm.
So everyone's got their phone with them, and they've got these spirit boxes, the word generators on their phone.
Right.
And obviously, with your phone, you've got your GPS, you've got your gyroscope, and all these things.
Because it's tracked.
And they're throwing out these words that people start thinking, oh, you know, there is a lot of magic tricks in the field that are used that some people, if they're looking for an answer,
They'll find something.
they will say, yeah. They will say that, oh, that must be so my Aunt Dottie speaking to me from beyond the grave, etc.
And with that, there is an element of it's a bit sad, really. These are unhappy people looking for an answer.
I'll I'll tell you about a case that I went to on the Bayside. This young family were saying that they were having some abnormal activity.
Mm.
And we went there and we investigated. And we walked in, and the young girl, she had a few children there, and I'm not being prejudiced when I say that she was struggling to look after her young kids.
There's a brood there.
So someone does an investigation. Someone starts asking the questions. The first place, I'd look around the kitchen because you're looking for clues.
Mm.
So I went outside and there was a lot of interesting cigarettes in the ashtray.
Oh.
And I'm wandering around the house and This girl was quite distressed. And there was some, like, the cot, the sheets hadn't been changed. The little baby was lying in pretty grim. It was pretty grim conditions. She needed help.
Yeah.
I looked around where the TV was, and there was about 8 plugs plugged into that socket. So that's all EMF. That's
Yeah,
all. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
that's, it was crammed up. The long and short, this family was struggling. Was there anything paranormal there? In my eyes, no. What I think the poor girl needed was some help.
Yeah,
Social services would
she
have
needed
been,
some support.
yeah,
She just wanted
that's
to have
what,
some people
yeah.
come round, probably.
The person I was with wanted to tell her that there was stuff there because the mother was having the kids and her, except for the baby who was upstairs, the kids and her were all living in the front room in front of the TV watching crappy horror movies at night.
Oh, right.
So you can see the problem here going straight away.
Right. So every creak,
Yeah,
every single
yeah.
thing.
And it was a newish house. And I had a discussion with this person I was with. Oh, no, no, we'll go and do a cleansing and everything. And I was very much, and this is the moral issue that I struggled with, is that no, the poor girl needs some social services.
Mm.
She needs some help. She needs a support worker.
Mm.
And this person was adamant, no, 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 there's this and that, we'll cleanse it. Well, you're buying in.
To the delusion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the poor girl needs some help.
And if all you're doing is watching crappy paranormal horror slash movies, then
And getting stoned at the same
and yeah,
time.
and you're high as well. It's like, of course, you're gonna freak out. Like, it's just,
And that's the trouble, is a lot of these people will feed the illusion,
mm,
the delusion
mm,
that that there's something there. Well, no, she actually needed support in other ways.
mm.
And I was very adamant that I think, no, you shouldn't do that.
There's an element of mental illness to this stuff.
Yes.
And look, it's the same with, I've been around spiritual circles, did some rabbit ears for the camera for a long, long time. And I could definitely count the number of people on one hand with fingers to spare that I believe actually had a gift. And the rest is smoke and mirrors. Like the rest is, yeah,
I agree with you.
and there's again the same deal. There's tips and tricks and there's things that they do, and it's unfortunate because again they're vulnerable people trying to find some answers and trying to look at things, and it's like, look, I've got cards. I'd be more than happy to do a reading for you. I would never ever charge you for it.
Mm.
I believe that I can give you a reading if that's what you wanted to do. However, I never charge you for it. And I wouldn't, I'd definitely say, listen, this is just going to be my interpretation. Don't take it to the bank and use it to run your existence. Like, that's not a good idea.
I've seen many, and as I say, on these paranormal tours that people advertise, the amount of people that turn up looking for answers and dubious practices that are put in place, that these people take away as an answer.
Mm.
I've only met one person, and she's a very dear friend of mine, that I would say psychic,
Mm-hmm.
and she will ring you up and say, and she'll name what you're doing.
Mm.
She's outside the country or whatever. And she'll say to you this, and she'll do psychometry. She'll touch things or look at a photo, and she'll say, this person is.
Well, some
this,
people
this,
are
and
gifted,
this.
man. I've got no doubt about that.
And she's the only one that I've met in my time in the field that I would trust. And she's done psychometry on me. I asked her to do it on a man once, and she was right.
Mhm.
Everything she said was right. She had no idea who the person was,
Mm.
and she nailed it.
Mm.
And people are finding out now that she was spot on.
Yeah, right.
So, and she didn't have any idea who the person was. I just gave her a photo and said, go for it.
Mm.
And she just nailed it within 5 minutes. And I said, how do you do it? How would I put you into how would I put you into a sterile environment? There's no way we can. She's always going to have doubters.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't matter what you do. Yeah.
But I know that from what I've seen that she's legitimate. But I've seen people on tours that will come up with these names, or they'll use dubious equipment to. I mean, some people. It's nice that they're getting some sort of closure or a message, but is it legitimate?
Mm.
Is it morally right?
And that isn't morally right is a good question, because I suppose the flip side of that is if it's giving them closure and peace, then that's okay, isn't it? You know what I mean? What does it matter? And here's another perspective of it as well. If it's what they needed to hear, who's saying it wasn't a message for them anyway from somewhere else? Even though they're doing it dodgily, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, I know.
I'm
And
trying to put lipstick on a pig here. Well, I understand that. However,
I, when I've given a few lectures on this, as I've said that there's the old lady who sits by the window at 3 o'clock every afternoon, and the curtain moves, and she believes it's her departed husband.
mm,
And when I've given talks on this, I said, what would you do? Do you tell her the truth, which is morally
mm,
what you should do, or do you just let her believe it's her husband?
mm.
It's given her some solace. It's given her some comfort for that time, for that day.
What
Let it go.
yeah, what
Let it
husbands
go.
do, yeah.
And I think that's right. Just let her go. Don't ruin the illusion for her. It's given her some comfort, and I've got no problem with that. What I have an issue with is when people believe they're getting a sign and they keep going back on them tours,
Mm.
hoping for more and more and more, when
And
the original evidence is very, very on very, very shaky ground.
you're saying that without some, I'll say it. You're saying that the tour operators are taking advantage of that at times.
I don't think there's no regulation in the field. They regulate themselves.
Mm.
And if you're making $100 or $80 a night off of a person, and you're holding 20
Per
people go
person.
through,
Yeah. There's 2 grand. Yeah.
it's it's. I have a problem with how authentic. Like I said, the worst people that are faking and corrupt are the ones that say they're the most authentic,
Mm.
and they're the ones that will have the numerous Facebook accounts, Twitter accounts,
That are
and
fighting other people and
oh
doing
yeah,
all this stuff.
numerous.
And what pulled back the veil? You don't have to tell me, but I mean, what obviously you had some rose-colored glasses, for want of a better opinion, for quite a while. What pulled back the veil? Just it wasn't moving forward. You started to see the holes.
Originally, I'd caught that amazing image from Hopewell and a couple of other things, so I'd got the money shot, as
Mm.
they would say
Yeah.
in other industries, and I was bored because I wasn't getting that evidence that I'd caught very at a reasonably early time. It was
Mm.
like always had an interest in it, very disillusioned that nothing was going anywhere.
Mm.
Cat balls can only go so far, millimeters can only go so far, K2 meters,
You reached
REM
the
mods.
end of the.
No one was pushing or looking at anything new. They were using Victorian parlor tricks, table tipping, for
Yeah.
instance.
That was the
Yeah.
they used to do that back in the Victorian times.
And it's like with modern tech, with modern ways, they weren't progressing.
Mm.
And the other issue over here is it's very hard to get into places.
Yeah, because everything's privately owned. You gotta.
And Australia's knocked down, especially in Queensland, so many of their old buildings.
Oh, there's a show on Netflix where it's all this footage from post World War II,
Hmm.
where they're literally just bulldozing all of the Victorian buildings for all the crap that's still there now.
Hmm.
And it just goes on and on and on. And then, and I suppose if we're talking about energy of a place, then yeah, I imagine that um, it probably goes when it gets bulldozed.
And I think the younger generation aren't as interested in the history. So people aren't going to the historical villages.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And you're losing a lot of history. Like I said, in the cities, they're knocking so many places down to put big high rises.
Mm.
So we are losing a lot of our history over here, and a lot of places available to actually go to as
Even
well.
like antiques and stuff like that. We went out to there was a big antique fair. It wasn't Gatton, it was out here somewhere anyway. And there was amazing stuff there that was handmade and hand done, and no one cares. There was no one there.
No,
Like no one
no,
really cares. Like we're losing our perspective, being lost in the screen. I think is probably
yeah.
the is what's going on. Yeah, right. So I mean, we sort of went a bit nitty gritty there. Is there any? I want to. I want to change tax. Is there anything else you want to share about, the negative aspects of it, or any of that sort of stuff? Or
I just do. I think the field needs to clean its act up. There's no regulation in the field.
Mm.
Um, there's a lot of circus acts in the field.
Yeah, people that obviously again clicks,
Yeah,
likes,
and
spin like
unfortunately, I think that a lot of people are preying on, and they'll say they're the most authentic, got the most empathy, the most real piece of people they are,
Mm.
that are feeding off of other people looking for answers.
Unfortunate souls
Yes,
looking for
yeah,
that. It may be, like you say, might need some help. There might be some mental issues there. There could be yeah, I understand what you're saying. I understand what you're saying, and that's a shame. And the problem is that you know, coming into 9 years of podcasting, I I've seen it. I've seen it in the men's mental health field. I've seen it in the megalithic field. I've seen it in the ancient advanced civilization. I've seen it, man. It's the same shit everywhere, and it's hard to. There's definitely been times during my podcast that there's disillusionment. Like there's probably half a dozen times where I've seriously thought about not doing this anymore. I'm past that now. This is what I do
yeah.
because, well, the reality is it doesn't matter how when I get my knickers in a twist and say I'm going to quit. Uh, the research doesn't stop. The conversations don't
No,
stop. And someone inevitably goes, "Hey, what are you doing? Come back." You know what I mean? So, actually, Anthony's done that to me a few times. Yeah. What are we doing? We haven't heard from you. Come on Facebook Live. Oh, okay, mate. And then you back off to the races,
yeah.
sort of thing. However, it's. I wonder what we do. There's a larger question as to how do we change it at L? Like, how do we make people understand that love is the answer, and we'll achieve a lot more together than we ever will fighting against each other. I don't know. Like
I found a lot in these niche, kooky topics,
alternative pseudoscience
alternative,
stuff. Yeah.
that there is a massive amount of narcissism.
Oh yeah.
And then the narcissists seem drawn to it, that they are the be all and end all. And
Mm. Oh yeah, people that they call themselves the spiritual healer and
yeah,
all this sort of stuff. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I've been doing the most. I've been the longest investigator in the paranormal in
I'm the
Queensland for
yeah,
so long,
yeah, I'm
and
the grand poobah of everything, sort of thing. Yeah,
it's like fuck off.
yeah,
And it's the trouble is it pushes people away. And you've got to remember that a lot of these people doing stuff now, they're in their 40s, 50s, they're out to my age now.
Mm.
Youngsters aren't going near it because they don't want to be involved. They're not good at conflict at the best of times, the younger generation.
yeah.
And they ain't going to want to walk in a saying where you've got someone going, I've been doing this for 40 years. I am the answer. I'm
Mm.
Australia's, well, sorry,
Mm.
Queensland's greatest and
I'm,
best.
I'm the leading
You
source of
know, they're going to
crap.
walk
Yeah,
straight out the door and go, fuck off.
yeah, and that's a problem.
Mm.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Well, all that being said, and it's a shame. I knew what you were going to say coming into this. We talk offline. I knew what
Yeah.
you were going to say, and the confirmation that I knew what you were going to say. That's a bit sad, but I mean, let's leave all that off the table now, right? So you've had your little rant and all that sort of stuff. What what is it? Well, I mean, because to me, you're going like, oh, I heard this and I heard that, and we had this, and we had that. To me, as someone who invested money in the Ghostbusters, toy, right?
I'm taking it with me.
I've got Slimer as well. I've got all sorts of stuff. Um, I wanted to get like a proton pack to hang on the wall. Do you have any idea how expensive some of that
Can imagine.
official merch is, man? It's unbelievable. I wanted to get a flux capacitor as well, but it's like $800. I don't want to spend $800 on a
My
wall.
mate has got a Stormtrooper full outfit,
Oh,
proper
really?
plastic one in the UK. Trouble is, he's put on weight like me, and he can't
You
fit it
actually
anymore.
fit it. You can only put the helmet on, the greaves on
I'm
there.
so jealous when I saw it years ago. I was like, "You're joking," but he can't get into it anymore. So I'm quietly pleased about that.
But I mean, so I mean, what to me, I would have loved to have been in the room to hear that stuff. Like that stuff would have got me excited as well. I would have been right there with you. However, you've sort of mentioned a few different ideas. so we're thinking it's echo memory of a place. And again, take yourself away from
Yeah.
the dodgy people. Take
Yep.
yourself away from all the dodgy equipment. Let's use that instinct that you seem that the sensitivity that you tell me that you don't have that you do have. Uh, what do you think it is? What do you think some of this stuff is?
I think we need to go and look probably at the science of timelines.
Yep.
I think that quantum physics will probably give us more answers because without getting too heavy in this, and I'll try and keep it light in the notes that I took, is that we believe there's one time, a lot of people believe there's one timeline, past, present, future,
Mm.
and it
I don't
runs like
believe
that.
that at all. However, keep going. Yeah.
There is different timeline theories
Mm.
within quantum physics and physics that talk about converging bubble universe,
Mm-hmm.
bubble worlds, etc. Um, the way I say is you got two timelines that come very close to each other, and we can't prove any of this. This is only
And this is all
hypotheses.
speculation.
This is
Yeah.
all hypothesis what we're talking about. And none of it is we can't prove it. But I like to think there's someone in a room somewhere in Australia now going, is there anyone there? Can you give me a knock?
Mm.
And on another timeline, some guy's going, I'm hearing voices.
Yeah. Right.
And I love that theory is that someone they're going in another timeline in that same place going, making that
Yeah. What's
noise.
going
You
on?
know,
Yeah. What's happening? Yeah.
who's knocking on the table to get someone to knock and they're hearing it. So I think that we need to go more. I think the whole field needs to move more towards science
Mm.
for credibility.
Mm.
I feel that we need to look at timelines more
Mm.
and to have a bit of an understanding of timelines,
Mm.
not just look at past, present, future.
Mm. Well, I mean, quantum mechanics is proving that magic is real. I've said that for a little while now. Like
Mm,
if with these quantum computers and stuff like that quantum computer, whatever it was, it went back in time to do the qualifications. I can't understand how or why or what it did, but that's what we're saying, right? That's what they said. It's like in order for it to complete the calculation in the time that it did, it had to dilate or go back in time to complete the calculation, then bring it forward in time. Time for me has always been slippery, is probably the word,
mm,
right? I remember, and this is so I had a girlfriend, early 20s, and she would always say to me, when are you going to pick me up? And I'd always say to her, I'll pick you up when I'm ready. I said, no, I'd pick you up when you're ready. I said, just get ready and I'll be there. And if I did this 100 times, and it would be purely instinctual, I'd be at my place, she'd be at her place, and I'd be always, I'm a dude, doesn't take me long to get
yeah,
ready, right? And I'm like, oh yeah, I'll go and pick her up now. And every time I'd pull up to her door and she'd be walking down the stairs.
yeah,
Every time. And that happened 100 times. So I think the time to me, it's the same thing. And the time in this room is very strange,
mm,
right?
mm,
We create our own bubble in time. Like I think we don't understand. I mean, time is a human creation anyway. We put
mm.
24 hours on a day. It doesn't,
Exactly.
it's a completely three-dimensional construct that
Mm,
we've used to help measure our existence. That's the reality of time. And as far as the timeline things are concerned, look, I think the what is it, the Mandela effect? Like the
yeah.
the Monopoly man having a monocle. You would remember that.
We were talking about this, me and partner were talking about this yesterday.
Yeah, the
Mm,
Monopoly man had a
mm,
monocle. Like there's
mm,
the movies and stuff. Like it's obviously that we've switched timelines somewhere in the past because like there's a weird one. Like where's your heart?
mm. To me, it's there.
Oh, it's on the left hand side of your chest, right? You Google it now; it's in the center of your chest.
Mm,
Like what is that about? Did our heart move all of a sudden? Like the whole time we grew up, it was here. It was on the left hand side of your
mm.
chest, middle left, right? And there's all this weird stuff that like Trump doesn't turn to read a board and the timeline changes. You know what I mean? When he got clipped on the ear by that
We're
thing,
going deep now.
right? Well, this is the thing. And I suppose, and this is where we mightn't end this, we mightn't finish this discussion tonight because to me, there's links between your UAP research and the paranormal. Those two things coexist on the same.
Oh, I'm very much on that line now.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah,
With consciousness and things like that, I've gone very much that there's more to this than what the paranormal field,
mm,
and they need to look at some of the research that's happening in the UFO field
mm,
with consciousness.
mm. Well, it's even like, I mean, the light spectrum and so what we can hear and what we can see in both cases is like less than 1% of what is there.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're literally sitting here in this awesome room, but we can't see 99%
Exactly.
of what is actually going on around us. So it's like, and then you've got to start talking about interdimensional stuff as well.
Well, I
Right?
was out yesterday. I was having some work done on the truck, and I was listening to these people on some really bad morning TV show, and they had this life coach on
Mm,
talking about manifestation.
mm.
That you can manifest certain things. Well, who's to say that we can't manifest things in the paranormal field for our consciousness?
Well,
But it's maybe it's
one of my questions in this line of thinking for you is you started, right? You're excited, and you were getting after it.
hmm.
Were you like a light, or did you manifest those experiences? Do you think there might be something to that as well, or?
Now I would say I believe a lot of it is humans can manifest things. Um, you see telekinesis. You've
Yeah,
seen these.
absolutely.
You've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
these
yeah.
these clips where people can move things, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I strongly believe now, from my work within the UFO field for my next film, is that there's a lot more that our brain can do that we don't fully comprehend. Or if you're not a trained neuroscientist, you may do something without even realizing you've done it.
Mm.
Maybe we do control our own destiny.
Mm, absolutely.
Uh,
I think it's not the we only use, it used to be when we were growing up, it was like, oh, you only use 5% of your brain. I don't think it's like that. I think it's up to between 15 and 25, depending on what you're doing and how you're
yeah.
acting and that sort of stuff. But that still leaves 75% of your brain that you aren't using. And then couple with that they now understand that there's neural receptors in your heart and there's neural receptors in your gut. What are we talking about? Like this is and I always talk about, not always, I actually haven't talked a lot about it on the show, but probably that's part of the new world order is like magic with a K, Magick, right? Um, where do all those stories come from? I believe maybe once upon a time it was real. Maybe we did, there's a downgrade theory out there in the advanced ancient civilization world, right? Where we were once able to maybe manipulate elements. We were once
Mm-hmm.
maybe able to, maybe Merlin was real, like just to use a one that'll everyone will know, right? So, but now we can't. So what happened? It's like we each have our gifts. It's and you apply your gift, and whatever your gift is, then that gets received. And look, manifestation is real, man. Like I do think that, and and here's one from a mental health perspective, and I used this on Braden actually the other night, and it blew his little mind. Well, not his little mind, but he's a young fella. He's only
Yeah.
16, 17. And he was going, he's worrying about all this stuff. Oh, this might happen and that might happen and this might happen. And I said, man, stop, 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 stop. I said, of everything that you worry about, that you spend all your time and precious life force energy, everything you worry about, what's the percentage of it that comes true? I'm like, is it even 1%? He's like, actually, it's not even 1%. I'm like, right. So of that point, we'll say 0.5% for a nice round number. How much have you manifested that into your existence because you spend an hour worrying about it? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
let it go. What can you do anyway? You can't do anything apart from what's in front of you at the time. You know, and it comes back to the corny stuff in the moment, but it's
I think that's the humans of subconsciously manifest when you look at certain people. I know certain person that they're attracted to a certain kind of person who's negative,
mm,
but for some reason they are drawn subconsciously or whatever to
yeah. There's
that
some lesson they're
thoughty
not
person.
learning, or they have to.
Yeah,
There's
there is
something.
no reason why that they, and there's other people that will blame everything. Well, look at the way, yeah, you can manifest if you put your mind. And I'm saying, as you know, I'm going through therapy at the moment
Mm,
for stuff.
mm.
If you put cheers, mate. If you put a positive outlook on something,
Mm.
you're getting positive
That's
results.
right. Positive feedback loop.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
it is all based around manifestation. So let's get back to the paranormal. Who's to say that you're not manifesting?
Those experiences.
Yes, some things that happen. Is it a reaction to what your action of what you're doing subconsciously?
Mm,
You know, look at. There's been research done on people that have had, predominantly women, that have had some a severe trauma at a young age, um, in their life,
mm,
that are very psychic.
mm,
They've learnt that they've maybe retreated within themselves, not verbally, not as verbal or anything because of what the experience, the trauma, and they have got this sixth sense, which is they're very
yeah. They've
psychic.
dialed. They've dialed
Yeah,
up the other
yeah.
senses. Yeah.
So it shows that humans can do it.
Mm. Well,
So
the same with they've done tests on deaf people and blind people. It's like their other senses are now heightened because one of the key senses has been taken away.
mm.
You know, and do we have the ability to? Well, what's your theories actually? What have you got there? I want to let's use those as a topic.
Oh, my paranormal theories. Yeah, well, I've got here. We believe that the timelines are strictly linear, the past, present, and future.
Mm-hmm.
They might overlap, echo, or loop.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about ghosts or time slips. These are things that people need to look at more than going in there with
Mm.
cheap, frilly gadgets that beep and buzz and make silly noises and lights.
Mm.
What else have we got? Simplified quantum ideas about unusual connectedness and multiple possibilities.
Mm.
And I think that's important when people go and do these investigations and everything. Straight away they go, and as you've seen on YouTube at the moment, everything's a demon.
Mm.
Well, first of all, do you believe in religion for it to be a demon?
Yeah, that's a religious archetype. Well, the darkness is
Yeah.
a religious archetype. Well, it's interpreted that way in these days. Yeah.
And and to me personally, I've always gone, well, if you believe in that, you believe in God.
Mm.
If you don't believe any of it, then it's nothing. It's nothing.
Mm.
You know, that's just my thoughts. I think we have to look a lot more at quantum physics for a lot of this stuff.
Mm.
Many worlds glitches.
Well, that was one of my next questions was going to be like, that's honey eucalyptus, by the way, mate.
Cool.
It'll soothe your ills. One of my other questions was going to be uh, deja vu.
Yep.
Right, I've had a fair few deja vu things, or I've seen like I would call it a glitch. You know, I remember being at the glitches seem to happen when I'm in a car. Right? I'm sitting in the car and I'll see a truck drive past, and then the exact same truck will drive past like 2 minutes later. I say, hang on a minute, hang on, that was the same. That was the same truck in the same car, right? And it's like, is that a if we're talking about weird theories, we can't leave the Matrix theory off the table, can we?
And you can get towards the simulation theory.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a possibility. And people have to understand these are hypotheticals that we're talking about. We can't prove any of this. So, but we need to look at, like I said, many worlds, the glitch idea. We don't fully understand. We've only got certain formulas for time.
Mm.
So we can't prove any of it's real. I remember someone saying to me once that 3 watches all set to the same time. I have one down here, one on Mount Everest, and one in space. Two out of 3 are going to be reading different time. All 3 of them read different times. So that proves straight away that time isn't linear and it's a set structure.
No, time and space, it's malleable.
Mm.
Like I said, time for me has always been slippery. Is the thing what I find, what I've found, this is my own personal experience, what I've found about time is that if you, let's say you borrow some time,
Mm.
that's the best way I can put it. You got to pay that shit back, right? So let's say you're running late to work and you go, and I don't know if this happens to anyone else apart from me, how it's like, I've rocked up on time to work on a fair few occasions where I really shouldn't have, right? You know what I mean?
Yep.
And that's a simple 3D way to use whatever this is that I'm talking about.
Mm.
However, later down the track, there's going to be a day that feels like it lasts for 3 days, right? And it's because you've owed the universe a debt of space time, right? It's like
Mm.
you use space time. Now, guess what? You can't just keep using space time. You got to pay that space time debt back.
Future conditions is the
Yeah.
one I've got down here. Is the
Mm.
same thing as well. Future comes back and shapes the now.
Mm.
And that will also go back to manifestation of our own luck. Let's say luck.
Mhm.
Um, that and in the paranormal field, we need to be looking at this sort of stuff and documenting it. Well, is there a time slip?
Mm.
You know,
Because the time slip's a big part of the UFO stuff as well. I've had a few
exactly.
of the experiences where people have shared with me that I would believe. Some of the time slips up, I do believe, because I've experienced weird ass time slips of my own. Like it's like I don't know what happened, but I was here, now I'm there, and it's 2 hours later. It's like, hang on a minute, what happened in that space and time?
Spoke to a lot of people interviewing for the film that have had the same.
Yeah.
I was sitting in a field when I was 10 Ks away. I remember driving and I wake up in a field. First time I heard it, I was like, yeah, okay, you're crazy.
Mm.
But then you start talking to more and more people. Yeah, I was doing this and then I woke up there and I have no idea how I got there.
Mm.
And it's very, very common.
Mm. And it's deadpan, like I just did for you. I'm not, and they've got no
No.
reason to lie to you. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
that's what it has happened to me a few times. Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that you hear about, there was a film done in Sydney. I don't know if you've seen it, Two Face the Grey,
No, I can't say I have. No.
Chad Kalick film. A team of paranormal researchers were on Cockatoo Island. They were asked to go there. And they were getting these flashes in this room, and weird stuff was happening. If I get it right now, I think it's on Tubi, the film. There's a couple of them. There's Two Face the Grey, and there's a couple of others to do with it. And they were asked by the New South Wales government to actually go there and do paranormal investigations. Now, I don't know any government that's asked you to go and do a paranormal investigation
New South
anyway.
Wales government,
Okay.
they're terrible. Victoria's only
Yep.
second in New South Wales.
Yep. And they caught on camera, it looks, it's worth going to check this film out, but it looks like an alien pops his head around this corner of this room. Now, Chad Kalick, a friend of mine, knows him from America, and she's known him for many years before he was a filmmaker. And she said that he's legitimate. He lives in Santa Monica. He has a VFX guy next door to him that works in Hollywood. He looked at it, pixel counted everything.
Did the whole, yeah.
No way on earth there could be VFX. Now, it turns out when they started doing taking this film around the world to do the publicity, people going, well, actually looks like an alien.
Mm.
When all this came out, and I may have got the story slightly wrong, but when the story came out, they weren't allowed back on Cockatoo Island to do investigations. It was stopped.
Because they said it was an alien.
Yep. And strange things happen. I'd advise people to go and watch it. It's Two Face the Grey. And they have had weird stuff happen to them.
Mm.
One of the gentlemen who's in it has had some very weird experiences, people knocking at the door.
Mm.
I know Chad Kalick, who's based us in Santa Monica, has had some very strange experiences too.
Mm.
And that's paranormal. And you see the footage of this in the film, is this room's lighting up. Something's going on there.
Mm.
And I think what I'm trying to say is that I think the paranormal field needs to work a bit closer with the UFO field.
Yeah, well, they're one and the same, I think.
I think the UFO field has more scientific looks at things more scientifically than the paranormal field. I think we've got to throw away the gadgets
Mm.
in the paranormal field, and we've got to start looking at science.
Mm.
It's
Or regulate the gadgets, like have a consensus and understand that, as you say, whatever the P90 is has got a fault
yeah,
with it, and it's not going to give you, this is what we should all, if everyone's using the same gear, then
and it's got to be if it's scientifically validated. Now, on the social side, there's nothing cooler, and it's such a great laugh to go out and do a ghost hunt.
mm,
It is fun.
mm,
Is it scientific evidence if something happens? No, not at all.
mm,
Um, I think that there needs to be regulation in the field that people can go, that they need to incorporate scientists and listen to parapsychologists, because parapsychologists, um, I'm a big admirer of Dr. Chris French. He blows certain theories out the water and he explains why, to do with psychics and cold reading.
mhm,
And not all their stuff's right.
mm,
There's Kieran O'Keefe. It's another one that's very good in the UK. They're not saying that it's not paranormal, but
mm.
you got to look at, because a lot of people in the paranormal field have got blinkers on.
Yeah, it's ghosts and demons or
Yeah.
nothing. Yeah.
And they're not looking at the scientific side of things, that there's something more that could be going on.
Mm,
People get excited about temperature changes. There's a gadget called a millimeter. Anyone who's watched paranormal shows will know what it's like. It's got like a REM pod aerial. It's actually named after the guy who made it. It's a sad story. He wanted a tool that could communicate with his daughter that was killed in a plane crash.
I've
Sorry,
heard of
car
this.
crash.
I've
Sorry.
heard of this. Yeah.
And her name was Melanie. And it's what it's called, a millimeter. And people get excited when you get temperature changes on it and stuff. But temperature's always changing.
Yeah, it's always
This room's
fluctuating.
now probably warmer than what it was when we first started at
Well, it is
Berlin
absolutely.
today.
Yeah.
So then they'll get excited about that. But it's not that alone doesn't prove that there's something paranormal happening in the room.
Yeah. Mm, mm,
There's no way. That's not a sign. It's an instrument built for a guy that wanted to talk to his dead daughter. It's not a scientific instrument.
mm.
You can't use that as a weights and measures for.
But do you think part of the problem is that I see an issue both in the UFO, UAP, and the paranormal where we're obsessed with the third dimension when we just said that we don't see 99% of what's going on around us? Are we ever going to be able to truly have a weights and measures three-dimensional understanding of that, or do we need to let go of our need for that and start to, like you said, quantum mechanics is proving that magic is real. So do we need to start to look at that, and understand that a bit better, or we're getting to we're starting to drift into spirituality and these sorts of things.
Yeah.
But again, I suppose it's beliefs, it's not proof, is it?
Paranormal feels known as pseudoscience. I think we need to get scientists, and I don't think any serious scientists will come near the field the way it is currently.
Mm-hmm.
They don't want to risk the reputation on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you need science to look at some of these things. And if someone debunks something, parapsychologists, etc., debunk something,
Mm.
look at it. They're not saying everything's not paranormal. The good ones will say at times, I can't explain what that was.
Mm.
But that's where you're getting really with your
It's the same with
your
UFO,
equipment.
UAP stuff
Yeah.
as well. It's
Yeah.
like there's a percentage that can't be explained.
Hmm.
I mean, yeah, look, we have to. What if it's interdimensional ultra terrestrials that live in the ocean, mate, and they just can move around us and we don't even know that they're here?
Hmm.
Or they exist on a different dimensional plane? Or what if we're coexisting with multiple entities or whatever it is, so I mean, okay. I had a bit of a thought there. So like speed round, right? So do you think they're dead spirits? Yes or no? You don't, not, you're not, or you can say not sure.
I think they're energy.
Okay. Do you think it's the soul energy of, You know, what makes you Lee and me sort of
I
thing.
think it's the souls. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would be happy to say it's souls. Yes,
And you may
no spirits.
and do you think they hang around on purpose, or you think they check back in, or not sure? No, I mean, obviously we can't prove. And I think so. How do you know how we get away with everything here at Unlocking the Code, Lee? Is we are consider ourselves sophomaniacs. Okay, so a sophomaniac is someone who has the delusion that we are intelligent. Okay, right. So
That's yeah. I'm very delusional then.
right, exactly, right. So that's our disclaimer. We are sophomaniacs. Don't listen to us. We don't know what we're talking about. However, from your experience and your understanding,
I'm just full of shit.
yeah,
Yeah.
everyone is, man. We're all pretending.
I think it's more of a greater conscience. I don't. I think it. I think there's more to consciousness, and I think it's of a greater consciousness.
Yeah. So you think it's a soul energy, or however you want
Yes.
to put that,
Yeah.
that's either checking in, or do you think maybe sometimes they get caught in between or returning to source? I mean,
I've got a friend that talks about passing people over, and I happen to believe a lot of what she says.
yeah, I agree.
And
I've known
and
some people that do that as well, and I agree.
and she'll go somewhere and she'll, it's very short, I won't go into too depth, but she'll say, I was at somewhere, she was in Bali once and I passed these people over. I know her very well that I think that maybe there is this energy stuck somewhere
Mm,
on its way up to a greater consciousness. I
mm,
don't believe in heaven and hell.
mm.
I believe that there is a greater purpose, consciousness, and without going off topic a bit, I've met so many experiences in the UFO field that talk about this consciousness and that there's got to be more to it that we don't understand. So
Well,
I
psychedelics will start playing with that as well. That there's a greater consciousness out there, and that there's a greater
and I think that that's what
understanding.
we're looking at is that there's a greater consciousness. I don't think it's God or the devil, but I think there is a greater consciousness that these spirits are going up.
But in order for balance to be a thing in the universe, there must be dark and there must be light, right? I
Yeah,
mean, you said you haven't had any dark experiences, but it'd be hard not to say that the world is run by darkness at the moment.
oh,
Like
exactly.
this is the whole point. It
Mm,
definitely exists. Actually, I tell you, and I don't know if I've shared this one with you before. One of my experiences. So in the Brisbane city, and I don't think there's a lot of these ones. Remember back in the day, there was all these underground eateries in the city, like
mm,
in the valley and stuff. There was heaps of them. There isn't too many anymore, but there was these underground eateries, and we were there. This is 20 years ago now. Easy, yeah, we 2006, somewhere in there, 5, 6, somewhere in there, and we're in there just having lunch, and I know that I'm sensitive. I'm sensitive to
mm,
energy. I'm sensitive to. I see people, and either they accept that or they don't. And sometimes it's good, and sometimes it's not. Right. And we're sitting at this table, one of these underground eateries, and you talk about time. It's like time stood still, and again, this is like as you and me as we're sitting here right now. And the thing is, there's an archetype involved here, which makes me sort of question it, like I've manifested it or something. However, the classic trench coat,
mm,
long hair, hat, glasses, beard, and there was just evil radiating from whatever this thing was. And it walked past probably at the end of the table, probably that close to me. And again, I was at a table with three or
mm,
four friends, and it was muttering like demonic language is the only way that I could
mm.
put it, right? In this deep guttural something, right? And I remember looking at this thing, person, whatever, it looked at me and kept walking. And I looked around at the other people in the room and I'm like, do you guys see that? And no one saw it. Now, I don't know how to explain that. I don't know how to explain that, but that's what happened. You
Mm.
know, so it's like, did I and that's happened to me a few times where like the amount of times I've questioned whether I'm crazy, Lee, I tell you, like, but where I land on it is that crazy people don't know that they're crazy. So if you're questioning whether you're
Yeah.
crazy, then you're not crazy because crazy people don't know that they're crazy, right? So as long as you keep questioning whether or not you're crazy, however, man, that happened. I don't know how to explain that. And like, I'm early 20s, like I don't even that happened. I don't know how else to explain that. And no one else saw it, no one else acknowledged it. I was like, no one saw it, no one acknowledged it,
Yep.
nothing. And I've had that but the thing is though, the fascinating thing is that coming back to manifestation, I'm with you, man. There's magical implements in this room. I read all sorts of dark stuff when I was broody in my teens and 20s. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I loved Anne Rice and the Vampire Lestat and all those books and all that stuff. And I've read so much about all that, the paranormal and demons and darkness and dark beings, not just from the religious side, but, ancient
Yep.
cultures and all that sort of thing. There's always been the darker forces. So it's like, as I sit here at 43, I'm like, did I manifest that, or am I sensitive to see that? Because I could say, actually, I mean, it's funny talking to you about this stuff. I haven't thought about some of these things for a long time. I remember looking across, I don't know where I was. I was outside somewhere, and there was these two beings having a conversation. I could hear them just sitting at a table. I
Mm.
was outside. They were sitting at a picnic table, and there was these two beings having a conversation, and I could see straight through them. There were two corporeal beings having a discussion about humans. And I looked, and then they looked at me, and then they realized that I could hear them. And then I looked away, looked back, they were gone. What was that? You know what I mean? Is that me? I don't know how to explain that. Like, I've got no reason. I haven't thought about that for years. There's no
Mm.
reason for me to lie about that. You know what I mean? It's like,
That's like my doll story. Those two people standing.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
We both, me and Sam, both saw them,
yeah.
and then they weren't there. We
Yeah.
both went. We both got the
There's these
same
two
thing.
regal figures in their
Mm.
robes, yeah, and they
Yeah.
were there.
See what's happening to me at the moment. I was sitting at home the last few days. I've been looking down. I've seen black shadows everywhere,
Mm.
just leg high, black shadows. A friend of mine got themselves a kitten on Saturday, and since Saturday, they don't know about this, so they're going to laugh when they hear it. All I've seen is these little black shadow figures out the corner of my eye, ankle high to knee high.
Mm.
And I was sitting there the other day going, "What the fuck's that? What the fuck's that?" And it
Mm.
just came to me then is they got a kitten. Now this person, um, it's almost telepathic. You can
Yeah.
feel, that they ain't going to feel right or something's wrong, and you
Mm.
know that. And they've just got a kitten, and I'm sitting there thinking, and you gave me that thing because all the last few days I've been looking down at my feet, going, black shadow out the corner of my eye.
Mm.
These little black shadows.
So do you think that that's a connection? You know what I mean? So we're talking about
Yes, I
because,
definitely do.
because like back in the 90s, or as the 1900s, as my daughter keeps calling it. I can't believe that that's what they're calling it. She goes to me, I think I'd like the 1900s. It's a shame it's not now and so long ago. I'm like, just relax there, darling. It's not that long ago, but it actually really is that long ago. Um, this was the time of, Angel and Buffy
Mm.
and all that. So you were there.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
all
yeah,
we're all
yeah,
into
yeah.
it, right? And so me and a mate started to play telepathy game. So it was like, I'm going to ring you at 8 o'clock and tell you what you're doing. Right. And then you can't do the same thing. Right. It's like, make it random.
Mm.
And after a while, we got pretty bloody good at it. So what is that? Right. And that was a connection that me and him had. And we had and then you come back to, um, I've experienced it with Angus hunting,
Mm.
where we're of one mind. It's not two people there. We're of one mind. You could almost say that this experience tonight, because we've been going, I don't even know how long we've been going for. It's quite a while. This experience tonight, we're of one mind. We're just rolling through each other. And you know what I mean? Like that's happened tonight where it's like I'm listening to you,
Yep.
you're listening to me. It's weird stuff, man. I don't think we understand.
I've got a friend, and they won't text me a lot, and they'll text me, and I, for some reason, I will pick my phone up. I haven't heard from this person for, and I'll go, they're typing a message. Exactly the time I've, and it's not just like once or twice
It's
out of
happened a lot.
20,
Yeah.
enough every time. And then I'll say, why are you typing when I've actually, and I don't check my phone that much.
Mm.
Why are you typing while I've just gone and checked my messages? And they go, oh, you're spooky. I think that it's a two-way thing.
Mm.
And I think humans have got this. I've got another mate who rang me today. Said, "You're having a flat day today." I said, "How the fuck do you know?" He said,
I felt it.
"Yeah." He said, "I've something came to my head. I'd give you a ring."
Mm.
And at that time of the day, I was struggling a bit. And I went to it, but he does this all the time. He'll ring me up and he goes, especially when I was going through very bad depression. He'd ring me up and he'd go, now people can say, oh yeah, but that was more times out of 10 because you're going for a rough patch. But he would ring me up at a certain part of the day when I was genuinely struggling and go, something told me to give you a call.
Mm.
And I go, how the fuck did you know? Or I'll say to someone, I'm about to give so and so a ring.
Mm.
And as I do it, they ring me. Same guy.
Mm.
And I go, how? He says, I no idea.
It is what it is. And the thing is, the people that argue against it, and I've had this conversation with a few people, then I start digging. I start asking them questions, as I do, my probing questions. And it's happened more than once where I've gone, well, hang on, it's happened to you. You just don't want to admit it.
Mm.
I think that's, what's that called? Morphic resonance.
Mm.
There was a guy who studied that. It's like the dog, the dog will be sitting at the door 5 minutes before you get home because it knows you're coming home.
Yeah.
It's picked up that you're on your way home. Like that happens. I think there's just a lot out there, man, that we don't understand, and because we build a society based around control and thinking that we have control when we ultimately don't. We have very little control over anything, really. And we've lost our. I was gonna say whimsy, because I find that, like, I always think about Anthony, right? Because me and Anthony, I love Anthony. He's a good mate of mine.
Yeah.
However, we argue. That's what I like about Anthony, is I can argue with
Yeah,
Anthony,
exactly.
and he's good about it. But it's like, I just wish he had more whimsy. You know what I mean? I wish that I know inside myself that there's more things going around me that I don't understand.
Mm.
I've seen too many weird things. I've had too many get up now or do this now, or and I do that now, and if I hadn't done that, I would have been seriously hurt. Like, that's happened a few times as well. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, duck. It's like, what do you mean duck? And then something goes past your head. It's like, what I mean?
I've got a friend, and they go and they moan and they say about their life. And I said, but you've got to want, back to manifestation and what we're talking about. You've got to want to change.
That's right.
You either stay in the same rut and do the same thing. Only you can change what you want to do. I never thought 18-year-old Leigh that'd be making films at 55, 56. Never thought in a million years. I was talking to my friend in England who's known me my whole life. He never thought he'd be doing the job he's doing.
No.
I said, I never thought I'd be doing that and going to podcasts and talking about this stuff. I said, not in a million years. That's not me, So you don't know where your future's going to go. But if you want to change, you've got to want to change to make the change. Otherwise, you can sit there and whinge about your husband or your wife or whatever, or your job. If you want to change, you have to do that. And like I said, back to manifestation. You can sit there and just blame the world and blame everyone else and come up with piss poor excuses. But you've got to want to make that change yourself.
That's right.
I'm going to therapy now. People always go, because I want to be a better version. I don't want to go back to the guy that was trying to kill himself.
You're trying to find the answers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think, I see these people that moan, oh, this, oh, that. But you've got to want to make the change. I can sit there and nag you stupidly about this person's a grub or that's bad scenario. It doesn't matter. You've got to want to.
You won't see it.
Make the change.
Unless you are aware of it, you won't see it. And then, and then that's the question: how much are we seeing how much could we see? I've wondered that about. I've often wondered with the paranormal stuff and the magic and that. It's like, is there a way to reactivate? Is there a
Mm.
way to train yourself to reactivate whatever? And the thing is, my experience with this sort of stuff is that everyone has a different gift. We don't all have the same. It's not like everyone's going to be, like I said, I know a couple of people that pass people on as well, and I believe what they
Mm.
say. I have no
Mm.
issues with that. Um, and I've heard some crazy things, and they've done some readings and things for me, and there's just information. There's no way that they could know that person is
Mm.
communicating. It's like, so I've seen some of that stuff where I believe it to be true, but I wonder whether there's a way to reactivate ourselves. Is there a way? Well, look, in a way, a lot of us over the last 5 years, we began to see, and you can never unsee now, can you? There's no way. Once you've seen what's going on, there's no way to unsee what's
What was
going
it you
on.
said at Cardwell? We were the kooky kids. Now we're the cool kids.
That's right, exactly. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I've been doing this for 30 years. I was bullied in
Mm.
some of this stuff, but now we're heads of the field. No, we're not. We're masters of the universe. No, we're not. Anyone that says, I didn't say this before too, but let me say it now. Anyone that says they are the grand poobah master, Reiki, yoga, grand poobah,
Oh,
anything, is nowhere near it, because the people that I've met, whether it be male or female, that I would say are masters of their craft, the very first thing they will tell you is that they're not. Right?
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
why I'm a sophomaniac. I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't listen to me. There's no way.
And I'm the same. And like I said, you just look through the paranormal, we go back to the paranormal, you go
Mm,
look through just go look through Facebook and there'll be someone saying, I've done this for 30 years. I'm the,
you lost me.
what the fuck have you done for 30 years?
Mm.
Have you advanced anything? Have you come up with any new equipment? Have you come up with any new techniques?
Yeah, is there any, have you got actual, any physical evidence that,
You've took $120 per person per tour and ripped them off,
yeah, yeah,
but you
mate.
haven't advanced the field.
Mm,
If you'd advanced the field, then I'd say, yeah, I'll give you credit.
mm,
And that's with any of these fields. You hear these people say, oh, I've been doing this, I've been doing that. But what have you done to advance the field?
mm,
Have you gone away and done that? I
mm.
mean, I'm no expert in this. I don't know fuck all about fuck all.
No, that's right.
I was never great at school,
Mm.
but I've got
But
life
that's the thing is,
experience.
there's no being not great at school is actually probably a marker that you could critically think.
One of the things that I do laugh at in the paranormal field is that there's people that will offer you degrees in demonology.
Right.
That's a thing. A
But is
degree in
that just studying
demonology.
books and myth, or what's that?
It's that they can actually study demonology and get a degree in it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that is seriously something you can look it up on Google.
But
There is
again, a lot of
people.
this demonology, guys, is if you line the demonology up with the UFO stuff and UAP stuff, same with fairies, same with this, so there's all this spectrum is it's all in there somewhere. You know what I mean? I think the answers are in there somewhere.
And we also know people in the UFO field that are making a decent living out of,
Bullshit.
yeah,
Yeah.
charging people
Yeah. Oh, it's
hundreds of, well, thousands of dollars a weekend to go and sit in their retreat, and they will reckon that you'll see things in the sky.
hmm,
It's a second term in the paranormal field. There's a lot of charlatans
hmm,
that are drawn to these fields,
hmm, hmm.
and that's what I
Well,
think we
that's
need to be
that's the
aware
problem.
of. Yeah,
I mean, how do you weed that out in any field? That's the issue. It's like, how do because it's a hard one, because the marker used to be, oh, they're making money. That's then that means that they're lying. Well, no, well, everyone's got to feed their family. Like, if
yeah,
that's the thing. It's like, I would love to dedicate 24 hours a day to UTC. How awesome would
yeah.
that be? Like, does that mean I'm a charlatan now because I've got a
No,
sponsor, or
no.
it's gone viral or whatever? No, I would still stay exactly the same as I am now. However, so it's hard to know. It's hard to
It
know.
is hard to know.
Well, we're crisscrossing topics, but we had we want to talk about Greer and whether or not we were psyoped against Greer. like Stephen Greer, because the reality is he's the one that's been in the trenches for the last 40 years. Like he was there in the 90s, and we don't really know anymore, but there's been a psyop saying that he was full of shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Especially when someone close to us backs up someone else's
yeah, that's
story
right.
from the other side of the pond.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. There's evidence that's building to the contrary. You know what I mean? So it's interesting, man.
Go with your. I always say go with your gut.
Yeah.
Go with your gut. If you like the person, you've got a good connection, and you feel comfortable, go with your gut.
Mm,
Yeah, that's all you can do. Because if it goes wrong, you can blame yourself.
mm.
If it goes right, pat yourself on the back.
And I think the thing is that with any of this stuff, be aware of your own hubris and your own ego as well, and be aware of. And I think you've said it a few times tonight. How much do you want to believe? Because that affects it, right? That affects how you perceive it. And as I say, I wonder with some of the, as you say, you got big hits at the start of your paranormal career. I wonder whether, like, oh, maybe you brought that into your existence to a certain degree, potentially.
Possibly, possibly. I can't give you a sign. I can't give you any data-driven facts
Mm.
that was paranormal or it was manifested from me or my son.
Mm.
He's very psychic and that. How do we not know he wasn't him? That.
Yeah.
What I would say though is that not everyone's bad in these fields. That there is more often than not there's good people.
Of course there is. There always is. Yeah.
And people say, oh, he's banged out the paranormal field, but there is a lot of good people in these fields that don't crave attention, don't have big followings on YouTube, Facebook, any of that social media shit. They're the ones that are often doing the best work as well.
Mm.
And they're the ones that there is some good people. And I said, I've got big problems with a lot of stuff in that field, but there is also some people quietly going about their business.
Just trying to do what they can.
Not trying to get big hits, not wanting to be YouTube famous or any narcissistic tendencies that are going about. And they're the ones that you can say, keep up the good work, because they're not doing it for recognition.
No.
They're doing it because they've got a genuine interest and they want to try and further these fields in a certain way. I mean, I've been introduced in the UFO field to some amazing people that don't want to be on the front covers of UFO magazines or anything, but they're doing amazing. They've accepted me in, and they don't want any credit for a lot of the stuff. But they're well known because they're honest. I'm not going to name them to embarrass them.
No.
But they're not doing it for that. They're doing it to help people, and they're not doing it to be YouTube podcasts or anything like that. They're just trying to help people. And there's the same as the paranormal field. There is genuine good people out there that are just going about their day, just doing their thing.
And look, man, honestly, dude, that's what we're trying to do here. Like that's. I wanted to have you on to have this discussion to try and, as I say, like with your last show, man, we reached a couple of people who reached out and said that they really appreciated your courage, and it's the same with this one. It's not about, it'd be awesome to have it as a job, of course. However, am I going to sell my soul to do that? No. I'll stay true to me. That's what I'm going to do. And I think it's one of those things. I think that's really good. Well, mate, I think we're probably wrapping it up. Is there anything else we didn't cover tonight, or
we could probably do another one?
Oh, we definitely could do another one. I've got more. The thing is, what's going to happen is I'm going to listen back to this, and I'm going to have more questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, look, this will be a part one. Yeah, man. Thanks very much.
It's a pleasure.
It is a pleasure, man. It's really cool sitting down with you and just exploring any ideas, really. So I think it's we've got many conversations to come. Where's the documentary at? What are we doing? And are you dragging some poor
We're dragging you in.
Yeah, right.
Okay. Yeah, we're dragging you in. I met up with my cinematographer just before Christmas. We're back starting the project up in the next couple of weeks. But we're going to put a bit of a twist on it now.
Okay.
Things that have happened over the last 6 months. We've had a good chat, me and my amazing cinematographer, James, does an awesome. You've met James. He does fucking awesome on what he does. But we're changing direction a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's what people wait and see. We'll release more. We're still looking to interview people, and we don't believe, and this could be a topic we could be on for ages. You're not going to get disclosure from governments. You're going
No.
to get a lot of fucking bullshit from governments, and it's starting to come out from people now that there's massive psyops, which we're going to probably talk about at a panel some
Yeah,
stage.
we are trying to herd the cats. It is.
You know,
It's hard to get all the. It's hard to get the Cardwell. What do we call ourselves? The UFO inner circle. I can't remember what we've named ourselves something, but the UFO collective. It's hard to nail the UFO collective down, but we'll do it soon. We'll get it done.
Well, I think that I personally believe now, I'm talking to people like yourself, Anthony, Grant, James, disclosure is going to come from society. It ain't going to come from any politician. It ain't going to come from anyone who's still working for the government that's going to tell you things that are probably a load of crap.
Mm.
And that's the way we're looking at it now. So we've changed path. We're still filming. It's just that obviously James, how can he do it when he's not working because it's his full-time job as well, being a cinematographer. But yeah, no, it's back on track. I'm a lot healthier mentally now to be doing it. So we're dipping our toes back in, looking around. Obviously, we're going to be interviewing you at some stage.
Yep.
So
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
So we got probably. Well, I've got to pull my finger out and do a bit of a videoing myself. However, Sacred Site 2 will be out this year sometime. Like as you say, trying to advance the theory. Like obviously that's the imprint biology. That's a genuine UTC discovery that's here in Queensland. That is just a weird anomaly. There's more at that site. We found a Pleiades a star alignment at that site as well. And yeah, there's even more at that site that I won't talk about right now. And there's more research that's being done. So yeah, that's going to be coming this year as well. So that's good, man. That's good. The thing is, the epiphany I had about the times that we live in, and comes back to manifestation, is that you can prosper amongst the chaos.
Mm.
People do. And how much can you control? We may as well, if it's all going to go to shit anyway, we may as well have some fun. You know, what?
And as I remember what you said when we very first met back at Cardwell about your tribe.
Yeah.
And like you guys working with me, and I've got a tribe of very, very close people around me as well, daily life. That's right. Gets me through. And I think that's important that you do need those. Us guys are becoming great friends and got a lot in common. And also having your own little tribe as well. It doesn't have to be your immediate family.
No.
You can do it with your best friends, and people need to do that because you can't do it on your own.
Well, the thing is that it's the I know the saying is blood is thicker than water, but that's not the saying. It's the blood of the sacrament is thicker than the water of the womb. So the people you choose versus the people you were given, right? The people you choose, the blood that you're willing to sacrifice and be together, and because you want to, that connection can be thicker and deeper than I think people understand. You know, I
always say, I want you in my life. I don't need you in my life.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's like you said, and if you ain't good enough, you know how good you are. People are going to play. You don't need that around. You need to have, and I've learned this more and more in the last few months, positivity.
Well, but I think, I don't know if I shared the mantra with you last time, man, but one of my mantras is peace, love, and go fuck yourself.
That's a great one.
Right. So to 99% of people, peace and love, man. Let's collaborate. Let's have a good time, share some knowledge, absolutely. Let's do it. I'm keen to learn and grow and share. But that 1% or however many percent it is of people that want to be a dick about it, fuck off. I don't care. I've got no time.
Yep.
You know? No. I think that's probably a good way to end it, mate. We didn't solve anything tonight. However, I do really appreciate it, man. I appreciate your honesty, and yeah, it's interesting. Until next time, guys, thank you very much. Been a pleasure, Leigh. I'm sure I'll see you on a panel sometime. But you got to come back anyway. As I say, there'll be a part 2 because I'm going to have questions.
All good. I don't mind.
Awesome, guys. Thanks very much. Until next time. Cheers.